paper, the kind of backdoor contracts, the things that are done. We have a lot of overlapping. I think we're top heavy in our military. We have a lot of top heavy officials with like 200,000, 2,000 employees each in our generals. 2,000 to 4,000 each employee has. So I think there's some reductions in the Pentagon that can happen. I think there's some waste and fraud. I don't think you got to cut the military to find waste and fraud.
I don't even think it's just necessarily being top heavy. I think we have too much shit that we don't. I don't know how many hundreds of atomic weapons we have or how many carriers we have. When you compare when you compare the size of the U.S. arsenal to even the second place competitor, which is China, we easily have far more than is needed. I mean, we have enough equipment as if we're expecting to take on several countries at once. I mean, we've seen what we can do to Russia by handing the Ukrainians some of our secondary equipment. So that
No,
was supposed to be the second most
and I
powerful
agree.
country.
I agree, but I think you'll find that I think that's been the notion that conservatives don't touch the military. But I think starting to see conservatives in the Republican Party, we're tired of sending our boys and girls off to war, and we're tired of seeing this stuff. I think you're gonna see a lot of conservatives want to focus on home. We want to focus here.
I think that is something that a lot of Americans could get behind, but I don't think that that's going to happen with Netanyahu going crazy. You think Trump is going to try to rein him in?
Yeah, I do because I really do. I think that you're going to see a big difference in what goes on because power by strength just shows it, and the power of the money and the power. Trump knows that we have the ultimate power. Most of our presidents don't display that. You know what I'm saying? This is why I say, you watch the energy push that he pushes. He's no longer going after energy independence. He's going after energy dominance. That's how he plans on to offset these tariffs. Because if you're also supplying the world too, and you're being dominant there, there's no reason for us not to have all the control and even trade across the board. We have the largest economy. We're the largest consumer. We can be the largest manufacturer. We have all the resources all over the rest of the world.
Here's something I don't think the right has ever contemplated this, and there may be a reason why they have not, but I'm going to suggest it to you anyway because anything is possible. And Dencal, thank you. Appreciate that. I'm going to ask you this. Thank you, Dencal. I'm going to ask you this because the right is not contemplating this. The question is, what would happen if the tariffs don't work? Every country does not back down when the United States makes threats. Think Cuba, think North Korea, think Iran. Every country doesn't back down. What happens if he threatens these tariffs and the countries go, fuck you? What happens here in America?
Because they can't, and that's because we have the control, and they can't just go say that. They literally just can't. And we again because
why can't they?
Tim, and I say it like tariffs will only work with the right taxes. Them kinds of tariffs will only work with the right kinds of taxes and incentives because you get to use them three ways. You get to use them strategically. You get to use them when you threaten.
But you're doing exactly what I stated, sir. You're saying that because they can't, and I started out by asking you because I do believe the Republican Party believes that the tariffs are guaranteed to work, and I asked you what happens if they don't. Well, they can't. Why can't they? Why are you saying they have no choice?
Because it affects their economy too. They can't if they don't have they can't afford that. They need our purchasing. They do need that regardless, and as we do too. But if you scale it out on the scale, our hammer's bigger. It just is. Our hammer's
bigger. When I asked you what happens if the tariffs don't work, and you said, well, because our economy's bigger and they need it. Cuba, have you seen what has happened in Cuba? They're driving 1950s cars, or how poor they are in Iran, or how poor they are in North Korea. Some folks are.
But that's not comparing oranges to apples.
How?
It really is.
How?
Because we're not structurally set up that way for one, and literally when you're talking about countries that how many resources is Cuba? How much can Cuba produce for the rest of the world? We can here.
No,
pump natural.
I don't. Here's what I don't think you understand what I'm saying. Some countries, as opposed to bowing down to the United States, may say, if we got to live in poverty for a while, I'd rather we live in poverty than to let the United States punk us out. You're making it sound like they're going to see the poverty of what the United States is doing, and that's going to provoke them to do what Trump wants. I'm saying some people are willing to take the hit.
I'll track what you're saying, and yeah, I guess that's a possibility. Is it, it's plausible, but it's possible, but is it plausible? No, I think I think it's a lot less likely for any country to say, yeah, we're just going to be poor because we're just not paying America's tariffs, so we're going to do this kind of thing, they're going to make the best business decision for their country.
I just gave you
Usually.
3 examples: Iran, Cuba, and North Korea. They all chose to be poor. And by the way, Russia's another one. Russia's also choosing to be poor. They're a lot poorer since they didn't cave to America. So that's 4 countries right there.
Yeah, that's questionable. But Iran, you say Iran, but they would be coming around because we give them money back to them. If you see how much
You ain't giving them money back. You're not giving a cent to Iran. You're giving them their money back. When we imposed sanctions on them, we froze their money. That is not money we're giving to them as a gift or out of our bank account. That was just like Russia right now. We have froze a lot of their money. So if they get money from the U.S., it's their own money back. We're not giving them a damn thing.
I don't disagree with that, but I disagree with flying it in the night in a form of cash. You don't got to get it like that.
It's their money. How else you going to give it to them? You want to give it a wire transfer?
Come on, wait a minute, Tim. Wait a minute. Now, me and you, you're smart enough to know this. That you literally give them to them where you can't trace it. You could have given it to them a wire transfer, bank transfer. Any other way, you don't deliver it by cash dollars on a plane in the middle of the night. Come on, be realistic.
Okay, what's the difference? If it's their money, what is the difference in how you return their money to them?
Okay, so if you just, but I can't even believe you're even going to stand on that.
I'm just curious. I want to know.
One's untraceable, one's cash that you can't tell where it goes for, what it does, how it is. And when you're looking at a nation that supports the T groups and has proxy stuff everywhere, and it's exactly where that money went, you would put it in a situation. It just never.
So you want to give them. You want to give them.
That's just ridiculous.
So what you're saying is you want to give them their money back, but you want to be able to trace what they spend their own money on?
You damn right I do. If you're a terrorist nation and you say it out loud and you claim death to America out loud and you say them things out loud, you damn right I want to know what.
Well, if you feel like they're a terrorist nation, you don't give them their money back at all. Why would you give money to?
I didn't think give them back at all. I was just going along with you. I thought we should stuck a finger to
because we didn't. Because when we gave Iran their money back, we believed that they were following the deal, the terms of the deal, and most of the free world did too. It was just when Trump came in office, he thought otherwise. But when Trump broke the Iran deal, most of our allies thought that was a bad idea and they were not in favor of it. They were saying that Iran is doing what they promised to do.
But they weren't.
I haven't seen any evidence of that.
Yeah, they didn't let our inspectors in right off the bat. Part of the deal was to let our inspectors in to inspect their levels and.
I don't, Sir Puff, give my caller a chance. I think he dropped.
No problem. We were supposed to be able to have inspections of their facility and verify.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry. We were supposed to be able to inspect. We were supposed to be able to inspect and verify, and they wouldn't let us in. We were supposed to be able to go and verify they were doing what they were supposed to do, and they kicked us all out.
So you're saying the entire free world. So you're saying the entire free world, when they said Iran was following the terms, were all lying.
It wasn't the entire world. Just because it wasn't the entire world.
I don't know any of our, other than Israel.
Me and you go into, no, that's not true. But if me and you go into contract together, okay, me and you make a contract, and we agree upon conditions, and if I break our contract first, or you, the contract is breached right then, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Iran breached our contract and our deal with them a multiple amount of ways. Literally, you breached the contract. How do you expect someone to honor a contract that you breached? Why have the contract in the first place?
I agree with what you're saying, but I don't recall it being that way. That
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
they kicked our inspectors out. We couldn't even verify. They said they made the deal that they would reduce, but we wanted verification that you were instead of trust me, bro.
Yeah, I'm under the impression that they were letting our inspectors where we demanded as part of the contract for them to be able to have access to them. We decided to expand it.
You'll find that's not the case.
Okay, all right, fair enough. We'll leave it at that.
I know you got a lot of guests. I don't want to keep you up forever. I just like stopping in and chatting with you. And we'll see where it goes from here. It's going to be an interesting ride. I look forward to seeing the next, 90 days or so. It's going to be funny.
I'm dying to see what happens as Trump says on day one. We'll see for certain. We'll be talking again. We'll be talking in Sir Puff.
Yeah, man, later.
Absolute. Thank you. Appreciate it. And by the way, that's how the program is ran. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. You're going to hear comments you agree with, comments you disagree with. That's how free speech works. This is a program where you can be critical of anybody in the comment section up to and including the host. If you think something doesn't make sense, state it. We may reach a comment out, but back it up with something. Just yelling out, "Well, you're a clown, you're an idiot." That means nothing. Add some meat to the bone. I always say. So if you feel like you disagree with something, feel free to state it, but state it with a little bit of elaboration. Looking in the comments though, Trump is the one that broke the deal, says Hubert. That's the way I saw it. And my last caller had a difference of opinion, but not only did I see it as Trump broke the deal, but my opinion before I go to the next caller is this. I always believed your word is all you have. So if someone makes a deal with the United States, they made a deal with America. They didn't make a deal with Obama. They didn't make a deal with Trump. They didn't make a deal with Biden. They made a deal with America. When Trump came along, got us out of not only the Iranian deal, the Paris Accord, he was starting to push hard on NATO. He was, NAFTA, you name it. And the issue I have is this: even if Trump is correct, DJ Julio, thank you, appreciate it. Even if Trump is correct, saying that these are bad deals or whatever the case may be, once America signs its name on a dotted line with a foreign country agreeing to a deal, I don't think it is in America's best interest for a future president to say, you know what, the last guy before me made a bad deal. I'm not going to honor it. Because if you are a country, you're doing business with America, first question comes to mind when you're talking to the president or the ambassador or whoever you're speaking to is, how do I know the next guy after you isn't going to break this? I mean, Trump has shown, to me, at least in my opinion, and thank you, Arshafine, for the shades. Appreciate it. Thank you, Arshafine. Trump has shown that you can't trust America. But I don't care how bad the deal that Obama made was, if Trump believes it was a bad deal, it was made by the United States. Find another way to get out of that deal without violating the terms with the person you made it with. Trump has literally shown that if you make a deal with the president of the United States, it's only as good as the current one that's in the White House that you made the deal with. The next guy may come in and just totally break it. That's not how your word works. That is not how I always use the example. You purchase a vehicle from some dealership and it is $2,000-3,000 below the manufacturer's sticker price. You're getting a great deal. All of a sudden, you take the car home, you don't sign on the dotted line, you're happy you don't got this car for so cheap. All of a sudden, the CEO of the dealership or maybe the husband shows up because you made the deal with one of his associates or his wife or something. He wasn't working that day. Shows up to your house with a tow truck. That was a bad deal my wife made with you yesterday. She sold this car to you too cheap. I want it back. Would you ever do business with a dealership like that ever again? That you guys had an associate behind the desk. I met the terms you asked. I signed. You gave me a damn car. I took it home. You're going to show up the next day saying that the person that you had working in it did a bad job representing your outfit? I do believe that Trump really, the image he gave of the United States. Now, I know you may favor this because maybe you do think the Iranian deal was bad. But I don't believe it paints a good picture to just break your word willy-nilly like that. I just think that's a real bad precedent. And like I said, if I am a world leader, after seeing that shit, I would be hesitant to enter any deal with America. How do I know the next guy's not going to just break it? You did. Let me go back to the box. He does that all the time, says Brian. Then that's a bad precedent. JPT Farms, thank you for the love. Appreciate it. Going back to the box. Dencal, good evening. Welcome to the program. I don't know what I just hit there, but Dencal, good evening. Thank you folks that are sharing the live. It does help. I appreciate that. Dencal, good evening. Hey. So you the man I've been talking about on this, quite a bit because we've kind of tossed this around. But have you seen any promises that has come from the Trump camp this go round that you believe he may not meet, or do you believe he indeed will meet his promises this time?
The problem with that question is we don't really have a metric of what success is for him, because when he says the greatest deportation ever. Like you've been saying before, all he's got to do is parade a couple people across the screen and say, "Hey, look at how great we doing," and then his people will be like, "Promises made, promises kept."
Well, when you look at the Biden administration, when it comes to deportations versus open borders, it's pretty easy for Trump to do a much better job at deporting people than Biden, because Biden is pretty much letting them in.
Well, look, I don't want to get into the back and forth of what is let in and what the people who came and asked for asylum and all of that stuff. The point is, we understood why we had a mass entrance into this country. We kind of understand what the circumstances were. We can say, well, he should have stopped them and all that kind of stuff, and we can talk about the laws.
Let me just interrupt you and say this. You do believe Biden did a poor job at managing the border, right?
I believe he did a poor job in explaining what the situation was. Not that he broke any laws, or not that he removed any laws that allow people to come. Like, the asylum process is the asylum process. He couldn't just say, "Well, we just gonna stop."
Actually, he could. Actually, if Biden stated that, we're going to make it so that, we only take a certain amount in due to terrorism or just like what Trump is doing, paying them all this.
That takes an act of you can't. The president can't set
no executive powers at all.
That stuff is set through the Constitution. It tells you how to treat these people. There's no law that says that the president can instill that says, "Oh, we're just gonna." It can only be.
So when they changed, so when they made the changes due to the pandemic, you telling me they changed the whole Constitution to make that happen? They clearly changed.
No. They used emergency powers.
Okay.
Emergency powers.
You got millions of people coming in the country and you don't know who they are. Is that not a potential emergency?
Well, they had emergency powers. They used emergency powers, and what happened after the emergency went away? The Supreme Court said Title 42 is null and void. And that's when a whole bunch of them that was staying in Mexico, when they came across, is when the Supreme Court, this ain't had nothing to do with
but you know that's a different Supreme Court than Cal. If Biden had stepped up and said it's an emergency and limited who's going to come in this country, you don't think Clarence Thomas would have said, no, let them in, do you?
Well, if that was the case, it was the same Supreme Court. Why did the Supreme Court knock down Title 42?
Was it the same?
Yes. It was during, 2022, 2021? Yeah. When they got rid of Title 42?
Yeah,
that was the same.
That's a decent pushback. That's a decent pushback. Okay, I didn't think of it that way. That is a decent pushback. So you believe that if Biden had tried to use some form of executive action to secure the border, the Supreme Court would have probably undid it, allowing people to still come in?
I'm saying what President Biden did in these last few months is something that he knew was not going to have staying power, but he did it probably for the election.
I actually think it. Now you're mentioning
he knows the moment he instituted those limits that are in place right now, and the reason why we got the lowest, immigration in probably the last 30 years is because of an executive order he put in. He knew that executive order is eventually going to get turned down by the Supreme Court.
If you do something like that and the Supreme Court turns it down, you got two things working to your benefit. First, while the Supreme Court was deliberating on it, you stopped thousands, if not, tens of thousands of people from getting in the country. So even if it's only done for a temporary time, you've done that. The second thing you've done is, even if the Supreme Court shoots you down, you showed the public that I tried my best to secure the damn border. It's out of my hands, but I tried. The problem is Biden don't have that.
I hear what you're saying, but we're talking in hindsight right now. The whole time Biden has been saying the only way to get good immigration policy is if we get something through Congress. The whole time he been saying
I get
that.
all
This
of that,
whole
but fire the executive action and sing that same story at the same time. You can do
well,
both.
why would you like we're talking we're talking as if we've normalized what Trump did, and we've made it seem like everybody should just do that across the board. You don't come and say like I don't think executive orders on the border is the way to go because there's no long-term staying power, and then you turn around and say, well, just go ahead and do the supreme. I'm gonna do the executive order and just see what. No, he was sticking on principle. He said, I'm not going to be doing executive order. Eventually, he ended up caving at the end.
If
But that's
Trump
the
if
problem that
Trump
we
has
have.
done one thing, he showed that sticking on principle can be a losing strategy when going up against people like him. But I want to read this to
Yep.
you. Ed G in the comments. Ed G says, this is aimed at you. He says, Dinkow, Biden didn't do a bad job at the border. He did a bad job explaining how bad his border policy was. Excuses, just admit it. I kind of agree with him because he kept
I'm
saying,
sure you do.
huh?
I'm sure you agree with
Let
him
me
because
tell you
that's the
why, though.
point
Let me
he
tell
was
you why,
making.
though. Regardless of you and I are going back on whether Biden could do it, whether it was Congress, Biden was saying the whole time there really was no problem at the border at all. There is no excuse
That's
for
not true.
that.
That's not true. That's
What?
not true.
What?
That's not true.
Yes, you're telling me that Biden was admitting there was a problem at the border?
I'm telling you to go back, and I know it's a whole lot of research, and nobody's probably going to do it, but you have to go back and look at the timeline of when they were saying the border was okay. That was
I
before. That was before the big flood of people. They were saying that. Yes, they were saying that in Congress. They were saying yes, the border is fine, but if we want to make some changes, we need to use whatever title that they had for their border policy coming through. And people have to understand that they were the people in power.
I
if
even
if
know.
I'm the person in power and I come up with a bill and I say, listen, this is what my border policy is, and you reject that, I'm not just gonna automatically just start adopting your policy.
Well, the problem is what you said earlier is that poor communication is why these conversations are being had. Now, I do remember Kamala Harris also making jokes about how long it took her to get to the border, saying, well, I ain't been to Europe yet either. They were telling them from day one, we got a major issue at the border.
Right.
And this is where I disagree with you on. The Biden administration was indicating it wasn't that serious. I mean, people were asking Kamala constantly, why haven't you went down there? When are you going down there? And she did say something like, well, I ain't been to Europe either. She was making
Right.
it sound like it wasn't
She
that big
was
of a deal.
right. She was saying, first of all, we're looking at all of this stuff in hindsight again. She was never in charge of the border. She was never in a czar or
She never
anything.
came out
So
and said that. People are
you're
asking you
asking me,
as a
if you're
vice
asking me as
president.
the vice president,
Yeah, but as a
somebody
vice
is
president, hold on, hold on. As a vice president, people are asking you specifically, why haven't you been to the border yet? That's the time to say, well, it ain't my job to go down there.
you're not going to say. Why would you say that? We're talking about a communication problem. We're talking about a vice president. If somebody is asking you about something, the president asked her. We all know what the president asked her to do, don't we?
In
What,
regards
what did the president ask her to do?
in regards to going down to the border,
No, not going to the border in regards to the border period. What were her marching orders from Joe Biden?
yeah, you got to let me know that. I don't know what those are.
She was assigned to go down there to the South American countries. It was like three countries, El Salvador. It was about three countries, and find out why those people were immigrating up into America.
And what did
She
she
did
come
that
back with?
research. She did that research, and they put some legislation or whatever into play to try to help those countries to prevent that large those
That
people from
obviously
coming.
failed miserably.
No, it did not. That's what I'm saying. Like, people are having this conversation, and we talking from hindsight, and people don't even know what the hell happened. and they don't want to go research it. They just want to, just like the people that get on here and talk about what happened on January 6th. We all was there, but people don't know what the hell happened.
I think the problem with what we're talking about on the board, January 6th, I agree with you 100% on that, and I think you know that. But on the border, I think the main problem was just the poor communication coming from the Biden administration. I mean, a lot of stuff you're saying, you're saying things that may be factual, and there's just like when you ask people, well, what did Biden do? And some folks can tell you about the infrastructure bill, the CHIPS Act. Other people that voted for Biden can't tell you about a damn thing. Whereas with Trump, even if the stuff is not true, they can tell you all these things Trump did because his communication skills are.
And that is the dumbing down of America. We keep saying, even if it's a lie, he was telling us. I don't want to hear him tell me what he thinks in every given moment. I want him to go into deep conversation with professionals and people, subject matter experts, and come to a conclusion and then have a conversation. Just the same way we was talking about the other day about those drones. Well, Trump would have came out and said, shoot them down, and he would have said, that shit is not good for the country.
You can say it's not good for the country, but this is what the people want to hear from you. Like now with these drones, you're just not hearing from the Biden administration really at all. Even on this border bill, even on this border bill that Elon and all of them were shooting down before they're even in the White House. You got a lot of Democrats saying we really haven't heard from the Biden administration at all. I mean,
he's a lame duck. He's not passing any legislation.
He's president.
He's not passing. No president with a month to go is passing legislation.
So what is he? He don't just checked out already?
No, he's doing his official duties. If you look at his calendar, like you can see what he's doing, but it's not engaging with the Congress.
They're sitting there bickering over a bill, and you got more information, you got more pushback and more input coming from Trump's administration, who is not even officially in the White House yet, than the guy who is. You're telling me that's normal?
I'm saying that Joe Biden's voice in this situation would make no difference. They know where Biden stands. I'm sure they're in communication with him. By Joe Biden, an unpopular president, coming down there and saying what? What is he supposed to say? You just want to see him come down there? It'll make you feel better?
I think the American people want
it. His job, man. His job is not to negotiate for Congress. People getting it mixed up. We need to go back to Schoolhouse Rock and explain how bills and stuff are made.
I disagree with you. I think his job is to make statements about Congress. I mean, Trump has shown that all of the stuff you're talking about, the status quo, Trump has shown that shit's a loser by today's standards. You got it. If you don't play by the rules that he has changed and set, you're gonna keep losing. Even if you're right, even if you're not gonna win doing that shit anymore. He's shown.
Okay, but we're talking about winning. You're talking about him winning personally. I'm talking about Americans winning, because nothing in that bill that he stopped or anything that he stopped from going through was a winner for anybody. None of that stuff was a winner that he stopped, because that money that he stopped from, there are people, those are actual human beings that are not receiving funding, like the cancer research funding, all of that stuff. But at the end, we say he won. But what did he win? He didn't win anything. All of the stuff that he wanted got shot down anyway.
Yeah. Well,
so who won?
The reason why it looks like Trump is winning is because it looks like he's the boss in control. Even if what you're saying, like I said, I'm not disagreeing with you. The way the bill came out was not the way he wanted it to come out. But it does look like he is in control and Biden is not.
Right, but if you sat there and you listened to the negotiations from the beginning, which they had negotiated, a fair negotiation with the Republican, what we thought was the leadership, they came to an agreement. Then from a tweet from the unelected, dude say, no, we not passing no legislation, period, until Trump get in office. And Trump was forced to react because he couldn't let Musk,
that absolutely happened. And that's what I was going to ask you. Before I'm moving on, I was going to ask you that. And Hubert, I'll respond to your comment in a moment. You're saying, why do immigrants always equal bad? They commit less crimes out. do agree with that. I'll talk about that in a second. But do you see Elon Musk, Dencal, is trying to overstep his boundaries? Maybe that Department of Government Efficiency job is maybe not enough to satisfy his desires?
We're talking about the richest man in the world. And power corrupts absolutely. So he has nothing to gain financially for what he's doing,
No.
which lets you know that there's other, there's other
Other motives,
alternatives.
yeah.
There's more intentions that are coming into play right here. And if he is as smart as people say he is, and he has injected himself with his donations to Trump, he understands that he got Trump by the balls.
Damn.
And if he were to come out today, if what Trump were to try to turn on him and say, "Well, oh, Elon Musk, you got to step back," he could easily come out tomorrow and say, "Listen, President Trump, he basically hired me to use Starlink, and we kind of flipped the election." Trump would be like forever.
See, I think one thing we've seen is that people don't believe bad information about Trump. I don't think it would take Elon a lot before he could convince people, particularly MAGA, that what he said about Trump is true. People don't believe bad stuff about Trump.
But Elon Musk is the person who could present the evidence. He
Ooh.
has the means. He has the means to distribute
We've
the evidence.
seen Ashley Babbitt going through a window, and that's not even, I don't think they care about evidence, Decal. I'll give you the last word, though. I don't think it matters.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to comment on what Puff Pass was talking about. I just wanted to kind of button up some things about the Iran deal.
All right.
They did not break the Iran deal. Trump was pissed off because the Iran deal did not include their testing of ballistic missiles. And he wanted to include that in the deal afterwards. And Iran said, no, we've already made a deal. And so what he was talking about as far as the inspections, they were honoring the inspections, but they had an established list of their nuclear facilities that we could look at. They started trying to ask them, could they just look at any?
That's exactly what I said, is that they were
No country is going to allow you to just ramshack every military facility and look everywhere. And that's where there was a hiccup, and that's where he said, well, they made a bad deal, and they should renegotiate the deal. And that's why he broke the deal. Not because they broke their end. That's why all the other countries in the whole world said, what is you talking about? They're abiding by the deal.
That's exactly what I said to my last caller, too, is that they were allowing us to do inspections, and the Trump administration tried to add shit in there. That's add places that they could do inspections that were outside of the regular agreed upon locations. And that's exactly what you're saying as well. I got to move it on then, Cal, but that's why all of our allies were saying exactly that. They're honoring the deal, and you're breaking it for no reason, and that's because Trump was trying to change the terms.
Hey, just real quick to Mountain Loving Mama. What's the point of the deal? The point of the deal was to stop them from creating a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
And you can't if you check their nuclear facilities, you can't move around nuclear fissile material just all willy-nilly. So just no country is going to give you access to all of their military facilities to look for nuclear. Like they had a part of the agreement was they had anytime inspections, certain places. Now you could get to look at other stuff, but you had to put in a request. You can't just show up one day at at my
like a probation officer. Just anytime I show up, you got to let me in.
At my Air Force base, talking about I want to take a look at, I want to take a look. No, no country is going to do that. Yeah. So that's the reason why you can have an agreement to accomplish a certain thing without just saying you give free reign over my country. No country is going to do that.
Exactly, I agree with that part. Didn't Cal, appreciate you coming through. And that's what I said as well, is that Trump wanted to expand the limits of where we could peek and prod and look at. And Iran already had a deal with the United States, with the West, on where they could, there was terms to it. And Trump wanted to expand those, and because they weren't willing to let him make changes to the original agreed upon deal, boom, it all fell apart. That is exactly the way I remember it as well. Looking in the comment, Hubert Cummerdale said, "Why do immigrants equal bad? They commit less crimes. They work harder than us for less money. They are people, not aliens. The United States was built by immigrants." Well, when you say why do immigrants equal bad is because they're foreigners. I mean, I hate to say it this way. We can talk about it, maybe it being bigotry, racism, whatever you want to call it. But, and I'm not even just talking about this right now, black and brown people, we can talk about that. But America has not ever been an immigrant friendly country. We were the same way when the Italians came here. We were the same way towards the Irish. We didn't even let the Jews come in that were fleeing the Holocaust because we thought they were communists. We did not. We let very few Jewish refugees in the country after World War II, or even during World War II. We have been very anti-immigrant. So when you say why do immigrants equal bad, because America is not very friendly to helping people out. And we've never been that way. We've all ever since we took over this country, we've had the mindset of it's ours, stay away. That's the way I mean, the Chinese, when they came here, we didn't like them. We've been anti-immigrant. We haven't been very welcoming to any group of immigrants that have come to America. So it ain't that they, and I do agree with you, they do commit less crimes. I've never bought into Trump's claim that Mexico is sending mostly rapists and murderers. I've always said that stuff is not true, but America's not very pro-immigrant. So it's pretty easy to convince somebody that people you already don't like are bad. I think it's pretty easy to do that, and he's cashed in on that. But thank you for the super chat there. Ed G says, because the first immigrants came here and conquered it. Yeah, Ed, you already know I was going to go into that. And that is 100% true, Ed, is that we are anti-immigrant because you ever heard of the phrase takes one to know one? If a criminal don't trust anybody because he knows what he would be doing. So a criminal's not going to leave their wallet out around you or leave their car unlocked or their doors unlocked because criminals know that, well, shit, if I was in that situation, I know what I would do. Criminal, takes one to know one. America is a take one to know one country. We know what we did when we were let in as immigrants. I'm talking about the English settlers. We know how bad we treated everything we accuse the immigrants are possibly doing: stealing resources, pushing diseases, raping and killing, murdering. We did that when we came here to the original inhabitants. So it's kind of a take one to know one. We know what we did, so we view every other immigrant, like I said, how a criminal views everybody else. I know you might be out to get me because I would be out to get you. America knows what we did when we came here. So we are always on the lookout with the expectation of, well, if we let somebody in, they may do the same shit to us that we did. And it leads to this mind. We have never been immigrant friendly. We have been fairly anti-immigrant since day one. Tim, we didn't. Black folks, that is. Oh, true. True, but I'm just simply saying we as Americans. But I get your point. The blacks were not part of the English settlers. But yeah, when the natives let us in this country, we did everything we're suggesting that the immigrants should do: rape, murder, diseases, resources, stealing land, all of that. Everything that you've heard them say, we did all of that. Let me go back to the box. America hired a rapist for president. Damn. Lotus, was that no, that was Kevin. Wow. Let me go back to the box. DJ Julio, good evening. They doing it in New York City. It's not the immigrants, it's the illegal immigrants.
They're very bad.
And I don't, in regards to the illegal immigrants, you should have
Here's the
penal institutions should be loaded with illegal immigrants. If they're that bad, most of our prisons should be loaded with illegal immigrants. DJ Julio, good evening.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing real good. Trump, we're talking about do you believe he will come through on his promises? Promises made, promises kept, or are there any promises he's made that you're concerned that he might actually not deliver on?
So, have you put two lasagna?
Just put it in the oven.
Paper on it?
Yeah. I think that, yeah, we're gonna have promises made, promises kept. He's gonna do everything that he can. It may not be I'm hoping that he gets the biggest deportation, but if it's not, any is better than just letting it free willy nilly at the border.
Yeah, I actually do. You got a lot going on in the background. I actually do believe that, as Denker was saying before you, I actually do believe he'll deliver on the largest deportation in history because the bar is so low, it's almost impossible for him not to do it.
Right.
But that don't mean he's getting a bunch of people out of here. As I've said, all you got to do is put a few of them on TV every day. Let's say Trump creates a website. The Department of Department of Government Efficiency. We're going to show you how efficient we are at getting rid of immigrants. We're going to premiere one violent illegal immigrant that has been deported. We're going to put them on a website every day and we'll show you their criminal record. Just one per day. That's actually only 365 of them per year. But it would look like they're doing a hell of a lot by doing that.
I don't think one a day would look like much.
Really?
If you're getting one
every day,
it would look like that. I don't think it would look like that much.
Yeah, I disagree with you. If he's putting one on there every day, showing you every single day one violent illegal immigrant that got deported, every single day you log in, there's a new guy there. That wouldn't look like much to you.
All you do is bitch.
No, because if you're taking down just one person a day, there's 50 states with 50 cities and
yeah, but they're not gonna say we're only doing one. They're gonna show you one, but they'll tell you it's hundreds more.
Oh well, in that way, it might have that appearance. Yeah, I mean, I could see you getting that appearance.
Yeah,
if they were saying that in the background too. Yeah.
Yeah, if you show them
one wouldn't look one on TV. I mean, even now. If you catch one, there's 6 or 7 around him. So why didn't you get all 6?
Well, I give you a perfect example. They put what is the name of the immigrant that what is the name of the girl that got murdered by an immigrant down there in Georgia? Something Lake or something like that. What is her name? I mean, you hear her all over right wing media.
Oh, I don't know.
I cannot think of her name.
I can't think of her name.
Yes, no. Right. Yeah, Lincoln Riley. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Now, notice they don't show you a whole bunch of people that have lost their lives to illegal immigrants. But yet, because they keep showing you Lincoln Riley, people already think it's a bunch of people losing their lives to immigrants. You don't need to show a lot of people. Most of the people on the right think there are hundreds of Lincoln Rileys all over the damn place, even though they've only showed you one.
Yeah, I would say, one death, it's time for change anyway.
Right. So, go ahead.
But I get your point, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think the largest deportation is so easy to fulfill. Just do that. Put 1 or 2 of them on TV per week, per day, or whatever.
It's out.
Huh?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So let me ask you this also, because we talked about Elon Musk. What is he doing? Is he trying to be is he trying to be a boss when he's supposed to be a co-captain with Vivek? Is he trying to do more than his job allows?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I would like all of our government officials to do more than they're supposed to be doing. I want them to do more, so long as it's in the right direction. Yeah.
You don't see how this might cause a clash. I mean, he's criticizing his own party and shit like that. You don't see he's threatening that anybody who signs a bill should be voted out. I mean, he's literally threatening other members of his own party. You're okay with that?
If there's bad apples, it's time to take them off the tree. I mean, that's my opinion on it. And part of government efficiency is going to shake that down. That's going to work. That's what he's there for. He's there to shake the tree. And if he's there to shake the tree for us to get rid of the bad apples, and all we have is good apples at the end of it, and the country's working, and we see it, and I hope we do, then it was good. I don't think for a second that if you feel threatened in Congress, you're probably doing something wrong.
Maybe you just got a bad boss. You ain't always got to be doing something wrong. Something like I know you and I disagree with this, but I don't think everybody that was behind the January 6th hearings committee was doing something wrong. But if people don't like you, they can come up with a reason why we want to get rid of you. I don't see where Adam Kinzinger, who was a Republican congressman in Illinois, he had to step down because they were coming after him. He didn't do anything wrong.
Well, I mean, I question that. I mean, nobody leaves a good opportunity because they're afraid of a little backlash and a little media.
Well,
If you're leaving and you're stepping down to keep something quiet, Tim. I mean, that's the
don't.
only time people step down from shit like that. Nobody runs from shit like that.
I don't think that you say just to keep something quiet. You do realize in the case of some of these people that MAGA's threatening people's lives and shit like that.
Well, making America great again isn't threatening anybody. There's people out there that are stupid on both sides that are making threats to people.
You don't think Liz Cheney received any life-threatening emails or calls from MAGA at all?
Not from Make America Great Again. No.
MAGA is Make America Great Again.
MAGA is a statement. It's not a faction. It's not White Lives Matter.
It's a movement. It's a movement, just like Black Lives Matter. It's a movement.
It's a movement about making America great for the future, for my children, my children's children, my children's children's children. You're right. It has nothing to do. We're not out there making death threats. Stupid people make death threats. Stupid people threaten people. Understand that.
But you don't think you don't. So you don't think anyone that is in agreement or operating with MAGA to make America great, you don't think any of those people are likely to make threats?
Whether you have the ideology or you understand and get what MAGA stands for, or you're just an ignorant. Yeah, we have white supremacists out there. Yeah, 100%.
Are any of them MAGA? Are any of them MAGA?
Would they support the movement? I'm sure they support the movement. Yeah.
Okay. So
it's nothing. It's no different. It's no different than the Panthers back in Black Lives Matter, or on that side of the fence. I mean, it's just talking points that are absolutely stupid.
I think there's a power difference though, Julio, and I'll tell you what I mean. You don't hear about Black Panther members being a lieutenant on the police force. You don't hear about Black Panther members being in the military and stuff like that. You do hear that stuff. I mean, when January 6th was investigated, a lot of them folks were actual police officers that were there. You don't hear that from BLM or from the Black Panther movement like you're talking about. They're in positions of power.
Well, I mean, that would make sense for cops to be there. Most cops would probably lean Republican.
Yeah.
I mean, but those are the people that when you're in trouble, you call. Those are the people that I call when I'm in trouble. Or
the people that are breaking in the building. The people that are breaking in the building, those are the ones you call?
Well, if they're cops, yeah. I mean, I don't know who shows up at my door. I don't know. And nobody can really tell. But it's the rhetoric that's the problem. It's why are we talking about why we have such distrust in the government that would even happen? And if there was evidence from the FBI files that have been leaked, or that have been not leaked, but that Matt Gaetz has gotten out in the open,
I wish there was solid evidence that January 6th had a reason to happen to begin with. Remember, the whole purpose was to stop the steal. I wish there was solid evidence that it was stolen.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Yeah, because
I believe it's out there. Will I ever see it? I don't know, but I believe it's out there.
The man's been president twice. When the hell are we gonna see it? He told us he's gonna drain the swamp and show us all this shit. Why haven't we seen it yet? He's the one that's saying
January
it.
20's not here. January 20's not here yet.
But but wait a minute. If you're gonna tell me at the end of the 2020 election that it was stolen from you, you still got 2 more months you're gonna be in power, just like Biden is still in power right now. Why don't you show us the evidence that is making you say this? He should have showed it to us already.
No, I agree. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Well, and that's, in my opinion, January 6th should have never happened. As opposed to talking about the feds was there and what is the guy's name, Ray Epps or whatever. It should never have happened. I don't see any. You had hundreds, if not thousands, of people there that day, and most of them, the only evidence they have that something happened was that Trump or Steve Bannon or Giuliani told them. Most of them folks in that crowd, if you pulled them aside and said, "Show me some proof that this actually happened," they don't. I mean, it was only 2 months after the election. It was still being investigated. They had no reason to be there acting like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand your perspective 100%.
Yeah. All right. All right. So you favor what Elon is doing. You don't see any problems there.
No, I want. When Trump ran the first time, that's the reason I voted for him. Was I wanted something different. I wanted something to shake us to our core, and it has. And
How?
and
How have we been shaken?
Well, because we got to see what it was like to actually succeed, and what it felt like to actually earn your money and keep your money. At least I did, and I've told you that a million times.
Yeah, I haven't seen that shit. I haven't. I know so.
Biden's been in for sure. No, you're right. The last 4 years have sucked. The first 4 years before that, 8 years ago, that was nice.
I don't. You know, I've said this before. Now I know under Biden, many folks did not favor the economy, grocery prices and things like that. But I don't remember living that large under Trump. If you compare Trump's economy to let's say, Obama's economy, were you really living that much better under Trump than you were under Obama?
Under Trump, I was able to take a breath for sure.
And under Obama, you were stressed?
I made about 20,000 less.
And you believe Trump is responsible for you making that much more?
Something with the tax code changed, so I assume, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see, because he's promising to give us another round of it. Hopefully it goes that way. Hopefully you make another additional 20,000. Hopefully I do too. All right, Julio.
Yes, yeah.
I hope. I don't see it, but I hope. I hope. I got hope.
He's not in the office yet. He's not in the office yet, and he's already making Canada stand down. He's already making China stand down. Come on.
He's a powerful man.
If people don't see by now that we made the right choice, then they just hate Trump because of his last name, and they should move the fuck on.
Wow, Trump derangement syndrome. Well, you know how I feel. My main issue is that whole giving police immunity. That's what steered me clear. That was a deal breaker for me, but.
Yeah, and you haven't heard nothing about that. You haven't heard nothing about that in the last couple of weeks.
So that's already one. So that's already one promise he don't make. That's a lie, is what you're saying?
Well, I mean, maybe he found out it was a bad idea.
That makes it a lie, though.
No, that makes it.
You didn't tell the people you found out. If I promise to do something for you, and I realize it's a bad idea, as you say.
That was never a promise. That was something that he would like to do. That's what he wanted to do. It wasn't a promise that he's going to do.
What's the difference? If he says we're going to give police immunity from prosecute, we, meaning he's included in it, how is that not a promise?
Maybe we give police immunity.
He didn't say maybe.
I heard maybe, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I hear it because I want to.
You wanted to. All right, Julio, I got to move it on. You definitely heard something that wasn't there.
Thanks for swinging through the other day. I appreciate that.
What?
When I was playing. I appreciate you coming through.
Coming through what?
When I was playing, DJing.
Oh, on the live. Yes. Yeah. Good. Yeah, I see my boy Gen X was in there too.
Yeah. It was nice to see both of you guys in there. I was like, oh.
All right, anytime. I like my house music, so I heard you playing that. So anytime, man. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yep. Be good.
All right, moving on with the program, by the way. Folks, I haven't asked that you tap the screen. I did want to play because he said he heard maybe. I'll see if I can find that because, no, Trump did promise to get police immunity, and there was no maybe mentioned in it. And that's what I said is that if that's the case, then he's already made one promise that hopefully, I was just saying this, I hope he does not deliver on that. I don't want police to have immunity from prosecution. I don't want that. So hopefully that does end up being a promise that he made that he doesn't keep. But yeah, I can tell you for a flat out fact that he promised to get police immunity, and there was no maybe in it. I've played it 100 times on the program. Looking in the comments though. We don't need immigrants. If your only thought is cheap labor, don't forget the strain on the healthcare systems, car insurance going up, and a housing shortage already. What the fuck? We don't need them. Well, I don't know if that says, what does that say? Pharaoh or something? I can't read the name there. Put my spectacles on there. Fed rats in MAGA hats. Fed rats in MAGA hats says we don't need immigrants. Well, I want to, look, I would love to have an America where we do our own shit. But the powers that be in this country are not looking at it from the standpoint of we don't need immigrants. They're looking at it from the standpoint of we don't need you. If I can find a bunch of them that'll pick my fruit or make up the hotel beds or work on my construction sites, I don't need to pay you a decent salary. The immigrants are not coming on their own. They're coming because there's a lot of Americans that want them here. So you don't need immigrants. But there's a hell of a lot of wealthy folks in this country that are disagreeing with you. The immigrants are here for a reason. There's three things the immigrants provide. And I'll go to the box after this and tap the screen, get the likes up to about 25,000. We can make that happen on TikTok. Smash that like button on YouTube. By the way, if you enjoy uncensored dialogue in this manner, we go left of Bernie Sanders from having dinner with Q. Everybody gets to speak on the program. If you enjoy this type of dialogue, feel free to follow the program on TikTok and subscription on YouTube, if you will. Three things that we get from immigrants. Number one is cheap labor, which is what my viewers said. We don't need that. Let Americans do those jobs. Cheap labor, hard drugs. Right now they're talking about fentanyl, but it's cocaine, marijuana, all of that shit has come across the border for decades. So cheap labor, hard drugs, and last but not least, human trafficking elements of human trafficking. All three of those things come from across the border. Now, I don't buy that all immigrants are coming here to sell drugs or child traffic, but those are the three things. Most of them are coming here in the form of cheap labor. If you had to do a pie, the largest slice of the pie representing immigrants are ones coming here representing cheap labor. They just want to better their lives and they're willing to work hard, if not for less than what an American would make to better their lives. That's the lion's share of the people coming here. But you do have others coming here bringing in hard drugs, and some are involved in human trafficking, whether it's children, whether it's women, you name it. The reason they're here is because all three of those things, cheap labor, hard drugs, and the trafficking, there's a huge demand for it from Americans, which is why I don't think you're going to be able to really shut the border off. There's just too many Americans in this country that want the cheap labor, that want the hard drugs, and that want the folks being trafficked. You never heard of any American telling you that some immigrant pinned them down and forced them to take fentanyl, forced them to engage in, relations with somebody that was being trafficked. No, Americans want this shit. So as long as we keep pretending like the immigrants are doing it all on their own, you're never going to get anywhere. So when you say that we don't need immigrants, why don't you tell that to all the American consumers that they have? All of the Americans that are giving them an incentive to bring that shit. Going back to the box, because clearly a lot of people would disagree with you. A lot of high-level drug dealers and politicians that are making a killing off of what they bring in would disagree with you. Arsha Fine, good evening. Welcome to the program, Arsha. What do you think? How do you view that statement? We don't need immigrants.
Oh, no, we do.
Now, you're in Hawaii. Do you have any problem with that? Do you have an immigrant population over there?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, we have people that have immigrated. We have Filipinos.
Okay. Different country. What is the sentiment there? Are they all now? You're in Hawaii. Is there an anti-immigrant sentiment like there is in the mainland?
No, there's more of an anti. I'm not Hawaiian. I would be considered a foreigner by the Hawaiian Kingdom or the Kingdom of Hawaii.
Yeah, but you're from a wealthy country. You're from the mainland. You're not from. It's you. We're okay with immigrants generally until they come from poorer countries.
So I don't generally get into matters of Hawaii like sentiment, but what I'll say, just living here, is there's a haole mentality, and then there's that's a fucking haole,
That's what they called them.
Yeah, so I mean, all of us that aren't born here, I mean, I'm technically a haole. I'm not Caucasian, but I'm a foreigner of of what used to be the Kingdom of Hawaii. And there's a different way of life here. You can't bring mainland way of life to Hawaii. It doesn't work. Like, go back if that's what you want. It's a little bit more community centered. People work hard. Some people have 2 to 3 jobs. Yes, there's a lot of people that, you can think of, some of the people that native to Hawaii might think of, mainlanders as immigrants, right?
That sounds people with 2 or 3 jobs, that sounds very familiar to me. That sounds like mainland living.
Well, they're hardworking people, and again, there's some of those people that send money back to their families, right?
Yeah.
From another, similar to like other immigrants. Again, I can't really. I work with a lot in the place where I work. I work with a lot of, I would say, non-Caucasian people, and they definitely weren't born here in Hawaii. So, and they aren't from the mainland either. So they're definitely immigrated here. We have like Micronesians. I mean, you name it. Like, you got it here.
Now
So,
your state tends to lean liberal. What is the sentiment towards Trump there? I mean, are they fans of Trump? I mean, like, what is the sentiment? I mean, it's certainly among Native Hawaiians towards President Trump.
I can't speak for that because I'm not Native Hawaiian, but the people that I do know that are Native, they're pretty just anti-American in general.
Wow. Why is that?
But well, because they were annexed. They didn't have a choice to become a state. They were, especially after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, it was, the mainland U.S. and the military just dug their heels in more. When the Queen gave over the kingdom of Hawaii, she wore all black and she had a veil. Like, it was not a happy day. So, I mean, it wasn't their dream to become a state. So and again, I don't speak on Hawaiian affairs. I just know enough Hawaiians that I learn every day, and enough Native people that live here. Again, I've only lived here since 2015. I am a person from, the Pacific Northwest who came here totally loving the way they live and the community and the belief of living aloha. And, it's great. So that's all I know.
Okay.
Are they Trumpers or are they Kamala Harris? I think they're more community oriented. So they're not necessarily anti-immigrant. I don't think the immigration thing was the thing here. At least that's not what I heard. I think, cost of living here, like people were talking about gas. Gas is never cheap when you live on a freaking island.
Well, everything's got to be imported.
Yes, it does. Everything has to be from electricity, and they're trying to be 80% renewable energy by 2000. I think it's 2050. We're like 30% there. So
yeah, you would think on an island like Hawaii, there should be solar panels everywhere.
There are. I mean, our house is fully photovoltaic. They're building solar farms. I mean, it takes, it takes.
Yeah, it takes time and money. Yeah.
It takes people to build it. Like if you need a job, if you're feeling like you don't have a job, come to Hawaii because there's more jobs than there are people.
Yeah, but do they pay enough to live on that damn island in that tourist area?
I think it depends on where you live, but and also depending on what your career path and what your skill is, you can definitely make it here, and make it. I mean,
I heard you guys had a lot of people living in vehicles on that island.
Okay, listen. If you're used to having 3 cars and a 3,000 square foot house, which I don't need, that would be ridiculous here. Again, you have to just decide what your priorities are when you're living in Hawaii. Like we definitely doubled down. I mean, our way of life is like ocean, parks, family, basketball. My kids ride their bikes to school. They ride their bikes all around at night. You just have to, we're.
So it's definitely, you definitely gonna be in terms of acquisitions and how much stuff you have, it's gonna be less.
Well, yeah, because you have you have nice weather all the way around. It's a little bit different lifestyle. Like the lifestyle it's just different. Your neighbors. It's very community. Or like the kuleana, like the community community oriented. Like I know if anything happens to my kids, which has happened because a couple of my kids have gotten in some bike accidents, the people come out, they help them, they bandage them, they call us like, hey, we have your kid. Like that's the kind of neighborhood, as a Gen Xer growing up in. I'm just like fortunate that we have that in the town that we live in with I have a 14 and 11-year-old
But
boys,
they're
right?
but they don't have a they're not very pro-American though because of like you said because they didn't have a choice.
No. I'm not saying that. No, please don't. I would say that there is it's similar to the Native Americans on the mainland when the people came, taking away, stripping them of their language and their culture, and making it illegal. For that happened here. I mean, in the '60s, right? So that was not that long ago.
Yeah.
These people, I mean, Hawaiian children born today don't know Hawaiian. And maybe their parents don't even know it because it was illegal to speak your native language. It was illegal to practice your culture. So, yeah, I mean, of course you have
Wow.
animosity, right?
Yeah, I did not know. I mean, there's so much of our history and that made this great nation that they don't tell you. Certainly the bad stuff that a lot of local folks can tell you stuff that probably got wiped out of history books. Right now, there's a movie, for instance, on Netflix. What is it called? The 6888 or something like that about.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. The Tyler Perry movie.
Yeah,
That's
and
amazing.
I saw it this weekend, and it's just like that. There's so many stories like that that they just wiped out of history. So it's just a trickle effect where people are continuing to learn stuff.
And I think it's important wherever you move or wherever you visit to know the history that you're going into because one, you're gonna you're gonna and again, this is why I said to you when people would come and I'd meet them and stuff and hey, what do you think about this? And I don't speak on that because one, this was not my land that was stolen from me. I'm here as within the last 10 years, I'm a foreigner. I came here. I've adopted, as much as I can from them. I'm learning from them. I don't tread on their. I don't know enough to have an opinion. All I know is that I have enough open-mindedness to learn and go, oh wow, yeah, that's fucked up. Like it didn't just happen like to the Native Americans. It happened just with
it happened everywhere they went. It literally happened the settlers that came to America, everywhere they went, they did that to somebody else. But let me ask you this though, in regards to the actual topic.
Yes.
Trump has made a lot of promises coming in. Do you feel confident that promises made, promises kept, or do you believe there's some promises he may have made that he has no intentions, there's no way in hell it's ever going to be delivered?
I don't know. It depends on if First Lady Musk is on board.
So you believe that Elon Musk is controlling things?
Listen, we have a billionaire as a president. We have the richest man in the world whispering in his ear. We have CEOs and presidents of corporations that are being appointed. We have the richest of the rich now controlling America. This, in my opinion, is one of the scariest things because you know why? They have nothing to lose. With any policy that they put in, their kids are going to be fine, their cousins are going to be fine, their friends are going to be fine. The only people that are going to suffer are the regular us, the regular people. And, Donald Trump, everybody's like, oh, we loved his tax cuts. Oh, yeah, because we're still on those same tax cuts. If you make less than $500,000 a year, guess what? You save $1,000. If you make more than that, you save $70,000. So and they're going to renew that. So you think you're getting a deal with Trump? No, rich people are getting a deal.
So you see it as a case, whereas, more disparity, rich getting richer, poor getting poorer.
Listen, what does Elon Musk or any of these people have to lose if they take away Social Security and Medicare?
I don't know, maybe the reputation?
Do you think that matters?
It might. I mean,
No. It doesn't. It does no, because they literally have nothing to lose, and that's the thing.
Yeah, but wait a minute. I mean, you could say the same thing about Biden or Obama. I mean, they all were. I mean, well, Obama wasn't rich when he became president, but he soon found a way to get there. I mean, you could say all of them had nothing to lose. That ain't something unique to Elon. Elon just has more money.
Listen. Senators and AOC and all these people, they're like they're like they don't have anything that Elon and Jeff Bezos and these Heritage Foundation and these hedge fund people. Come on, Tim. Like, Elon Musk could hand out $1 million a day to a random person, he'd still die wealthy.
Yeah, it is something like that. I mean, as I said,
And,
he has. If you had $1 million in a pile, he has what about 4,000 piles? That I don't know. I don't know. He has an insane amount of money, so that's
it's a
crazy.
disgusting amount of money, and I'm kind of like where Tupac is, and you know how Tupac Shakur always talked about how it's just it's disgusting how so few people can make so much and so many people can make so few. In my opinion, so that's my thoughts on Donald Trump. I think that when you have when you have a donor, again, your dark MAGA friend or the emperor or whatever. I mean, he's like a Vader. Whispering in your ear and obviously even controlling Congress through a tweet on X.
Yeah.
And they, and and then you're going to fall in line with your advice. Nope. This is not draining the swamp. This is rich. This isn't even rich people. This is like the richest of the rich.
Oligarchs.
It's terrifying.
Wow.
To me.
I hope you're wrong. I hope it's a bunch of rich people that's gonna bring us all up. I hope that. I know I'm being very hopeful, but hopefully it's a bunch of rich people that are going to show us to the promised land.
Well, I just listen to what they say, and if they're saying what they're saying, then the hope is dead.
Damn. It's only 4 years, Arsha. I got to move it on, but it's only 4 years, so.
We say that, but 4 years, it still lasts another 4 years once they're out. So we'll see.
All right, you're scaring the hell out of me, but thanks for coming through.
Yeah.
All right, good talk. Now, I do agree with what she was saying there. I mean, certainly in regards to the ultra wealthy. I mean, have you ever known the ultra wealthy to be really kind to the average person? That's generally not how they usually become ultra wealthy. So we are depending on the ultra wealthy to look out for our best interests. That is a good point she's making. It is something to be concerned about. We are depending. I mean, what was Elon Musk like as a citizen that was ultra wealthy? Was he known to be very generous? Was he very like Mark Cuban, the guy who used to own the Dallas Mavericks? What else has he done? He Shark Tank, I mean, so you know who Mark Cuban is. Now, long before he even got into political conversations, people orbiting around him was always saying things about how nice, how generous he was, and things like that. I used to be a big Dennis Rodman fan during the era of the Chicago Bulls, and living in Chicago when they were winning those championships. And when he went to play for the Dallas Mavericks for a short time, he put him up in his condo. He was even nice to Dennis Rodman. I mean, he's always been known. People orbiting around Mark Cuban has always had things to say about how generous. You don't normally hear that about the ultra wealthy. So I'm wondering in regards to Elon Musk, are there a lot of stories out there like that where he's always been kind and generous? Not a lot of people claiming they ripped him off. Now, there are stories like that about Trump where he's giving people jobs and giving people loans and things like that. But there's also a whole lot of stories about Trump ripping people off, lawyers and Trump University and as a construction folks saying they would do work for him and he wouldn't pay. So and I don't think there's a lot of stories out there like that about folks like Mark Cuban. So I'm just simply saying is, do you feel confident that and this should be a whole nother live stream topic, but I guess I'll ask by way of yes or no in the comments. Simply type yes or no in the comments. Do you feel confident that an administration that's loaded with ultra wealthy people will do what's in the best interest of average everyday folks? Some folks even being poor. Do you feel confident that those type of folks that have, as my last caller said, even their cousins are going to be okay? Do you feel confident that those type of folks are going to look out for us everyday average people? Because that is who a lot of his appointees are, is these ultra wealthy people. More so than what we've had, says Marisha. All right, we'll see. We'll see. I'm curious because that's who he is appointing. Ed says people like us is crazy while living in Hawaii. Sounds like Whoopi saying she's only on The View because she needs to work like the rest of us. I watch The View every day, just like I watch Outnumbered on Fox. I like the debate programs. I watch The Five, and I saw that show, when Whoopi said that because they looked at her like, "What, bitch? You rich? You rich?" She did say something like that. I'm out here struggling like the rest of us, or something like that. I remember that show when Whoopi Goldberg said that, but. You can be, but you're saying that you're comparing her saying she lives in Hawaii. Now there are plenty of people that live in Hawaii that are not doing that great financially. Like I said, a lot of people live there that are living in vehicles, living in vans and shit like that. Everybody in Hawaii, I know some people that live in Hawaii that are not doing that great. Just like you can be living in California, living in LA and not doing that great. I mean, just because you live in a city that has a lot of wealthy people and it costs, an astronomical amount to live there, don't mean you're doing great. You may be barely getting by. You may be living in a shoebox. So yeah, it don't mean you're doing great. Look at it in the comments here. Wait. She makes $73,000 a week and is struggling, says NFG. You saying that Whoopi Goldberg makes $73,000 a week, huh? Wow. All right, let me go back to the box. Continuing on with Trig. Good evening, Trig. Welcome to the program. I'll start up with that. I'll throw that to you, Trig. How confident you feel that Trump's billionaire administration will look out for the average working man? Trig, are you there? All right, apparently he's not there. We'll move it on. Real quick before I go to the next caller. I feel like that can go either or because that's, yes, current ones for everything that they, I don't quite get what you're saying there, Trevor. He says, I feel like that can go either or because that's, yes, current ones for everything that they intend on doing. It would help us, but also some rich are only going to get their own benefit. Well, I'll tell you one of the things, like my last caller was talking about, our show over in Hawaii was talking about tax cuts. If you give waitresses, if you say no tax on tips to a waitress, and you in that same bill, you also say no taxes on bonuses to folks that are in upper level management and CEOs and shit like that, that will certainly create a disparity of wealth. I mean, because you're giving that waitress, when you give her no tax on tips, that amounts to a small amount of money. Yeah, it means a lot to that waitress that's not making much. But the guy at the top, when you say no taxes on bonuses, because they're putting them together. We're not going to tax tips, we're not going to tax overtime, and we're not going to tax bonuses. A bonus could be any fucking thing. You can literally pay a CEO $1 million a year and pay him a bonus of $10 million. You can move the money around to make things better for him. So yeah, you're not paying taxes on overtime, which might amount to a few $100s a week you're saving. The waitress may not be paying taxes on tips, which may amount to a few $100s they're saving. But the guy at the top, no taxes on a bonus, could be millions of dollars that he's saving. Millions. On top of the millions that he's already making. And like I said, it leaves room to finagle the salary. Okay, well, now that we've gotten this no taxes on bonuses, you generally made $10 million a year, and we gave you a $2 million bonus if you met your numbers. How about we pay you $6 million a year and give you $6 million in bonuses? You're still seeing 12, but now you're only paying taxes on 6 instead of 10. You know how much money that could be? They can play games like that now. This would be far more helpful to wealthy people than it is to the working man. But there is a bone in it for the working man. So you would essentially have the somewhat happiness coming from the working man. Well, hell, he didn't tax me on tips. He didn't tax me on overtime. Meanwhile, because you're happy about this few bucks you're getting, you're allowing these other people to take millions of dollars. I do believe that would certainly increase the disparity between rich and poor. The rich would get far richer doing that, in my opinion. Looking in the comments, declare your whole paycheck as a tip. That's the problem, though, is that the working man is not going to have the ability to finagle things like the guy in upper level management would. You're just not going to have it. And the IRS and places like that are going to be probably far more likely to pay attention to what's going on with the working man. Meanwhile, they're letting them get away with with shit like that. Let them negotiate that upon hiring or something like that. Meanwhile, the working man is not going to have those kind of options. Just like I knew when I started purchasing properties, yeah, alter ego, appreciate the hat and mustache. When I was buying properties for a short time, one of the things I started noticing is the more properties I purchased, the more money I made, the more shit I could write off. I mean, I could come up, make up excuses, take somebody out to dinner and say I was showing her a room to rent. Write it out. The more you get up, the more avenues are available for you to keep your money. The average guy struggling has little to no avenues. They can just tax you and whatever, and you don't have a lot of shit to claim. It has a snowball effect. Let me go back to the box. Life's not fair. Not everything is going to be even. Mariska, I think that's it. I don't disagree with you. You're right. Life is not fair. But it's one thing when life is not fair. Let's say, for instance, you live a healthy life and you live to be 90. I live a healthy life and I catch cancer and die at 70. Life is not fair. I get it. But it's a difference if you deliberately put cancer causing agents in the food so that I die earlier. And don't tell me, meanwhile, you're over there not eating the shit. So I'm with you on life is not fair. But it's a difference when people are out there deliberately making it unfair. That's different. If something unfair happens out of our control, that's one thing. But we know in this country the wealthy are changing the rules to deliberately make it unfair. That's a big, big difference in my opinion. Going back to the box, I'm happy for you if that's how you feel. Hopefully you are correct and I am wrong that it is great for the United States of America. But if you're wrong, okay, somebody's talking to you. Love to cruise. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Love to cruise. And you say trade, that has nothing to do with wealth. Bullshit. If you're not healthy and you're spending a fortune on medical bills, it's going to affect your wealth. All of this stuff is tied into each other. Love to cruise. Good evening.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Good to have you on. Yeah, thank you. So what do you think? You think Trump's going to meet his promises? Promises made, promises kept?
No, Tim, I don't.
None of them?
None of them. And let me tell you why. Trump made a lot of promises. But did he tell you, besides the tariffs, did he tell you how he was going to make those promises happen?
Well, I think the largest deportation in history, he don't need to really tell you that.
Look, he's already having a problem doing that. The Bahamas and all them already said we're not taking those people.
Yeah, they are. He was 4 countries.
So he's already made all these promises with but he never told you how he's going to do them.
Yeah, well, wait a minute. When you say the Bahamas said they're not going to take these people, he's talking about deporting people back. And if you don't know where you're from, or if you came from a country that won't take you back, he's talking about sending you to Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas, Panama, or Grenada. And you're right, the Bahamas is like, I ain't down with that shit. But most of the people who've come to this country, I think we'll be able to get them back, will we not? I mean,
that's the reason they left. The countries aren't taking them back. That's the reason they got out of there. They're not taking them back. He doesn't have no concept on how he's going to get rid of these immigrants. He already admitted to the interview that maybe the price of bread isn't going to go down.
Yeah, he did.
The price of eggs is not going to go down.
He did say something like that. That was not popular. But in regards to immigrants not being taken back to their home countries, what could they really do if America shows up to the shore? Let's say, for instance, you got a military accompaniment shows up off the shores of Venezuela. They put your ass in a high-speed boat. You got armed Americans with you, and they put you up on the shore and kick you out. What are they going to do? I mean,
first of all, when you get to somebody's waters, now is it really worth causing a big time conflict when a country tells you not to come on and you're going to bring a military crew along to drop these people off? I mean, just because it's Bahamas and we know technically they can't do nothing to us, but in the eyes of the world, how is that going to look?
In the eyes of the world, how would it look to take people back to the country they came from?
No, they took them to a country they didn't even belong.
Now that, yeah, I'm not a fan of dropping people off in unknown countries where they don't speak the language, don't know nothing about the culture. Yeah, what Trump is proposing in that area is wrong. But I think most of the world will be okay though if we put, like, okay, you got, let's say for instance you got a 5,000 count load of immigrants that came from Venezuela. Venezuela's already told you they're not taking them back. Put them inside of one of them oil tanker ships that's hollowed out. We're going to sell it back. We're going to sell it with an accompaniment of a couple armed American ships. We're going to pull up on the shores and let them out. And if anybody start anything, the Navy's right. I think a large portion of the world would be okay with that. You got to take your people back.
Well, a large portion might be all right till American gets killed. Then what are you going to do?
Who's going to kill an American in that?
Just say they happen to fire on us. Now I know everybody going to say, oh, we'll kill them, we'll destroy them. But is it really worth one American life?
To most Americans that want these people deported, yeah, they think, I don't think they believe. Oh, let me say it this way. Let me say what Trump's borders are said, because they asked him, is it worth $80 billion or whatever it costs to deport every 1 million immigrants or something like that? They said it would be 80 billion, some high price tag.
88 billion.
Yeah, 8 billion. And they asked, is it really worth all that money to get them out? And his statement was, you can't put a price on safety. Keep in mind, a lot of people believe these folks are rapists and murderers. They're eating pets. They're vermin. Look, if one American got to perish to get all these people out that are going to rape and murder everybody, I think a lot of Americans will be okay with it.
But you're the same guy that said, when I was speaking to you about the general, and he was warning the Chinese, and I said, well, is it worth it for him to save us from a conflict? No, he took an oath and he did this and he did that. But it's worth it now for somebody to die to take the immigrants back.
Well, because they have the mindset. Now, me personally, I don't believe the immigrants are anywhere remotely dangerous, as Trump is saying. I don't believe they're eating pets. I don't believe they're raping and murdering people wholesale. I don't believe any of that stuff. But I'm simply saying a lot of people in this country would be okay if it cost an American serviceman their life. It's just like any other mission. You're out fighting to save American lives, and we're going to lose some people in the process. They believe these immigrants are essentially invaders, no different than Normandy 1945. I mean, they believe these people or 44. They believe these people are invaders. So for them, there is no cost.
Well, I believe that. And there aren't all good minorities, immigrants that came across. I understand that. And we do have a prison system for them. So do I think he's going to keep his promises? No, I don't. Because I don't think he has an idea how to. And I don't think that as a vice president, he can make those type of decisions.
You said you talking about J.D. Vance, right?
No, I'm talking about Trump as a vice president.
I knew what you was talking about. So we calling Trump the vice president. So President Musk, is that what you're talking about?
Exactly.
Let me ask you this for shits and giggles.
I told you that.
Yeah,
I told you that.
Go ahead.
He's a puppet. I told you Trump was going to end up being a puppet. Yes. If you give 450 plus million to a guy's re-election, what are you expecting?
Yeah. I can't do nothing but applaud on that, because I do believe that there's no way in hell anybody would give you 450 mil out of their personal account without some kind of expectation. He ain't that fucking eager to make America great again. There is something he's expecting for that.
He just bought the presidency. That's what he did.
I'm trying not to say that, man. I'm trying not to say that.
It's the truth. He bought the presidency.
I don't know if he bought it, but he bought something. You ain't gonna get 450.
You don't have to say it. I understand. I'm saying it for you. Mm-hmm. All right. He bought the presidency.
And I see you got a viewer that agrees with Chris on YouTube said Elon bought the presidency cheaper than he bought Twitter. Damn.
Exactly.
Well, I mean,
Exactly.
let's just be real. For my beloved MAGA Saturday Owl, because they favor Elon. Just imagine if Kamala won and she put George Soros on the administration. And you found out he gave 450 mil. You'd be saying the same thing. You would be saying the exact
Same
same
thing.
thing. Yeah. I
Same
mean,
thing.
nobody gives that kind of. I'm a strong believer in nothing comes free. Ain't no, you don't get something for nothing. You certainly don't get 450 mil for nothing. That dude wants something for his money. There's no way he just
Man,
did that.
he don't want something. He want it all. That's a lot. $450 million.
Damn,
Come on, man.
damn. I mean, it kind of reminds me one
Come
time I
on.
was at
He's
his
like a DOG. What's it? DOGE.
Department of Government Efficiency.
That's what Trump's gonna be running. He ain't gonna run.
Damn. So you think you're gonna get in there and demote Trump?
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Like you say, is he promoted? He been promoted. He ain't the president of the United States.
Yeah, but I see now. Cedric in the comments. Cedric said it's Elon Musk. That 450 mil is pocket change. Okay, sure, maybe so, but
Sure it is.
yeah, but even how many wealthy people are still stingy with pocket change? I mean,
It's pocket change.
yeah,
Let me ask you this: before Elon came along, you remember the big deal was Trump's campaign was broke,
yeah,
and then supposedly he had to talk with Elon. I'm sorry, at Margot. After that, you didn't hear no more conversation about that being
yeah,
broke.
yeah. You also didn't
Now,
hear no more. You also didn't hear any
in
more
that
criticism.
conversation,
Go
you
ahead.
don't think there was a big time deal made?
I can't totally speculate on that, but I do stand by the statement. Nobody gives you 450 mil for nothing. I mean, I
That's right.
mean, if it happened in the meeting you're talking about, maybe, but somewhere along the line, when you started making those kind of promises, something was promised to you. You didn't just do that out of the kindness of your heart. When
Man, all
he
those.
was endorsing Ron DeSantis before Trump. Ron DeSantis wasn't getting that kind of money out of him.
That's right.
Yeah, so.
And you had all those millionaires donating to Trump. He has Vince McMahon's wife, World Wrestling, as in charge of the Department of Education. Come on, man.
Well, they gonna point out you got Pete Buttigieg in charge of transportation. I mean, what is?
Man, come on. What you gonna transfer up, man? What you gonna educate in school? They gonna teach you how to do the figure four?
She's a businesswoman. Maybe she'll turn out. Maybe she'll make the Department of Education efficient.
Man, get out of here with that mess. And I understand.
I had to try. I had to try. I don't. Yeah, I don't think she sounds like a logical appointment to that position either. But sometimes you never know. I mean, you got to give her a chance. You don't have any choice otherwise. But no, she doesn't come out.
The
Now,
puppet doesn't have any other choice. That's what happened. The puppet doesn't have any other choice.
you really see Trump as a puppet.
But yeah, he's a puppet. You'd be a puppet too if you got. Well, if Eli gave 450 million or whatever, all these people give millions of dollars to you. You're a puppet.
I mean, Trump is like almost 80 years old. Like, okay, do you really even need the money? I mean, your kids are already independently wealthy. I mean, you're going to be wealthy even without getting a penny from Elon ever. Even if he didn't run for president, I mean, the guy is wealthy for the rest of his life. He don't need other than just being greedy. I don't see the need for this.
But if you're Elon has all the money, he still wants more.
It's a great
All
point.
those people are filthy rich, and they still want more.
So no chance that they're going to help out us working men.
Oh no, not a chance. Not a chance.
That's
I mean, you may get a, welcome to Walmart. Can I help you? That's as far as that help goes.
damn.
Come on, man. All these big companies, they didn't do it to help us. They did it to help themselves. And like you said, now the tax law, he's going to reinstate it. That was like stimulus checks to us, but they got all the money.
Well,
We got crumbs.
Well, but one of my viewers says, but keep voting Democrat like fools and lose even more. So,
Who's what?
well, the suggestion is Kamala Harris would have been even worse for you.
Worse than Trump? Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I understand.
But were you happy with the last 4 years under Biden?
I seen it. I wasn't upset about it.
Think
Okay.
you think he did a good
Wait
job?
a minute. There's some things he could have did, like the border, and talk to us more. Absolutely. But on the same token, I remember a little disease called COVID where nobody informed us either.
Yeah,
And COVID cost us a lot of lives.
So if it was down to 4 more years of Biden versus 4 more years of Trump, you rolling with Biden.
Absolutely.
You think Biden could actually do 4 more?
No.
But you still would take him.
I'll take Harris behind him. Look back the last couple of years, I dibble and dabble in the stock exchange. And I haven't did that bad with Biden. So I can see the economy turning around. I can see it turning around.
And the economists are saying that. The economists have been saying that too.
And if you go, I catch planes, I do a little traveling. Those planes ain't empty.
Yeah. Neither are the stores during the holiday season either.
That's right. I don't know if you've been to the airport, man. There was a lot of people traveling.
Yeah.
There's money out there. Now, are there people that are poor? Of course there are. Are there people that could have more? Of course there is. But it's always been like that.
But what about the notion that they'll even have more money under another Trump administration?
No, they're not.
You don't think so?
And let me tell you, he's about to get rid of unions.
Yeah, that's not good. If that's true, I mean,
it's true. It's true because the people that own the companies are the ones in it giving them money.
Yeah, if that's that, I mean, I'm a former union employee, AT&T, and I used to work for a union with United Parcel Service, Teamsters, and International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and I can tell you for a fact, as a working man, you're way better off in the union. I never could understand how so many everyday average working people think that they are better off without a union. I don't want to pay the $30, $40 a paycheck in union dues or whatever, not realizing your salary is significantly higher because of this union. I never could understand it.
Hey, you remember when the auto workers were about to go on strike?
When? Which time?
Recently, and he was at the non-union
plant in Michigan. Yes. But I'll tell you something. There are some union heads that voted for Trump.
I understand that, and everybody seems to think that his economy is so bad, was so good. Actually, it was a reflection of Obama's economy, which he just did not screw up until COVID. Just like now, he's running into Biden's economy, which is on the swing up. All he has to do is maintain, and he'll be all right. Well, he's been fortunate. His timing is everything.
Yeah, and the man seems to have really good timing in. Well, we'll see about that, but I mean, the guy's promising $2 gas, so.
Man, come on, man. The only way you're gonna get $2 gas is if he farts.
I gotta go. Love the cruise. Appreciate it, man. Oh my God.
Thanks a lot.
Anytime. Ed G. The left turned on Elon, all electric vehicle companies, but Tesla gets tax credit now. Tesla shareholders voted for him to sell billions in shares, but Democrats in his state blocked it. Why would Elon Musk stay on their side? So you're saying that because the Democrats, you're saying they turned on all electric vehicle. Well, you said the left turned on Elon, all electric vehicle companies. I don't think they turned on it. I think the left is promoting. In fact, I think it's just the opposite, but I see where you're coming from. The left is far more favorable to electric vehicle companies than the right is. The difference is once you get rid of vehicles that run by fossil fuels, you're gonna have to recoup all that lost tax money. When you put a gallon of gas in your car, about 50% of that is taxes. So if you make it so that people are driving off of, everybody got an electric vehicle, you got to recoup all that tax money. So it wasn't that they turned their back on Elon. They were trying to find a way to continue getting that tax money in, which is effectively pissing off Elon. I get the point you're making, but that's not what they were doing to him. But yeah, if you start putting just like self-driving cars, and I think the Tesla is one of those too. But eventually, we'll have cars that drive themselves. Well, guess who's going to lose out on money? Police. You're not going to have people getting tickets. There's not going to be as much speeding, any of that, because the vehicles will know the speed limit to maintain it. They're not going to be running stop signs, running red lights. They're not going to make the errors that a human being makes, where the police makes a fortune off of ticketing you from those errors. Those cars are not going to do that. So they're going to have to come up with another way to get all of that lost revenue back. So they're going to, I mean, it's going to be some kind of new tax come down the pipe for them too. That's what the Dems are doing with electric vehicles. We got to come up with a way of recouping all the lost revenue from fossil fuel taxes. Well, the police departments are going to have to do that. Some police departments, some of them rural departments, are almost damn near funded wholly off of violations and shit they can hand out. I mean, a lot of them get a large portion of their money from giving you speeding tickets and shit coming through those towns. You got an electric vehicle, all of a sudden they're coming through and they're driving the perfect speed. So I mean, it's just going to be changes the way of the new world. Looking in the comments, thank you guys that are tapping the screen. Can we get 40,000? Can we make that happen? Tap the screen on TikTok, smash that like button on YouTube. We're always on YouTube, horizontal and vertical. I do appreciate you folks tuning in as well. We don't block, ban, or censor. The program is always will be MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome on the program as well. So if you enjoy this type of dialogue, as I always say, we go left of Bernie Sanders, so I'm having dinner with Q. If you enjoy this type of open dialogue where you can be critical of anyone in the comment section, up to and including the host, no snowflakes on the program at all. If you favorite that, follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. Monday through Friday, but lately we've been here Sunday nights. Now that the Bears are just completely ruined their season, fuck it, I'm on here Sunday nights too. So looking in the comments real quick before we continue on. Chicago mayor just added more speed cameras and other tax hikes this weekend. Chicago's a mess. Chicago makes a killing off its drivers. I just know myself. That's a city you could probably save a bunch of money just not driving in. Whether it's the city stickers in the windows, all of the taxes of owning a vehicle. I mean, they make a killing off drivers. Big cities generally do. I mean, the city towing is a racket in itself. Like most cities, you have to actually be impeding traffic or doing something really wrong for them to come and tow your car. But in big cities, you actually have people just literally going around looking for cars to tow. That shouldn't be how it is. As long as you're not impeding the flow of traffic or doing, you blocking blocking the fire hydrant or somebody's driveway or something like that. Why you fucking with them? Unless somebody calls you and says we need somebody to come out here. A car is doing this, or a car has been stranded or abandoned or something. But they literally go looking for cars to tow in places like Chicago, Philly, Detroit, places like New York. Big difference. It's literally a racket. It's literally a racket. I mean, that's just big city living. That's the corruption of big cities. Going on, and same thing with the parking meters and all of that. They literally. I remember once I got a ticket in Chicago. You have the pole at the corner that says you're not supposed to park any further than that because obviously people coming up to the intersection can't see around your car or whatever. I mean, they got me, actually gave me, it had to be centimeters. I had to actually stand out in the street and look at my car compared to where the pole was. Like at the end of a horse race to see which horse actually won by a nose. It was that fucking close. Like, you actually gave me a ticket for this? Chicago is bad like that. Going back to the box. Real bad like that. Farlow, good evening. Welcome to the program. Good evening, Farlow.
Farlow, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, Fuzzer.
Jesus Christ, how many times have we talked?
I got a spammer on YouTube. I was dealing with it. We have talked a lot about Farlow.
Fucking wrong with you. And by the way, my Patriots are beating your Bears. We are going to get a better draft pick than you.
Boom.
Well, what is the Patriots? 4-10 or some shit? Beating them to the bottom is what you're talking about.
You guys won 4 and we've won 3. Dude, we're gonna get a better draft pick.
Oh my God. Yeah, I guess that ain't exactly something you should be bragging about while the season is still going, though. But yeah,
we have
the
1
Bears,
week left, dude.
Yeah,
we got 1 week left. I'm happy with it.
Damn.
But anyways, so this is a good opportunity to talk to you about something I've been wanting to talk to you about.
Sure.
You give too much credit to Donald Trump's economy. You do. Way, way, way too much.
I get that from the liberals every show. Give me an example. What are you talking about? Tell me how.
Well, let me ask you. What are you talking about? What did he? From what I understand, from what I saw, he took Barack Obama's economy.
Right.
Didn't change a fucking thing. And the only time it got fucked up is when he could fuck it up, and that was with.
You don't think his tax cuts are any change at all?
Fuck no. How? Show me where that put money into the economy.
Well, it put money into your pocket personally.
Right, for a week and a half.
You're just not giving him credit.
No, I'm not going to give him any credit for that. I'm not going to give him a damn bit of credit for that. I know you like to. I know you like to say, "Oh, no." You understand? So the economy when Barack Obama took over, it was going up, up, up. I mean, Barack Obama left it. It was going up, 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 up. Donald Trump just plateaued it. All he did was not fuck it up.
Well, like I always say, what I think is unfair is that, okay, I believe that when you're in the office, whatever happens under your watch, you get credit or you get criticism for. Okay, let's say what you're saying is true, which a lot of folks say, and I do agree that Obama gave him a good economy, despite him disagreeing with it. But I do agree that he got a great economy from Obama. If he had a fucked up Obama's economy, we would be chastising him for fucking it up.
He did fuck it up.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, the second he could with COVID. The second he had an opportunity to fuck it up, he fucked it up.
Do you think? Wait, hold up. Do you think anyone?
Hold on, Tim. Let me back it up for 1 second. Because Barack Obama, if you are not aware, had 4 epidemics. Could have turned into pandemics. 4 epidemics that he dealt with. And dealt with them and nipped them in the bud. And passed that information on to Donald Trump. Said, hey, this is how I dealt with it. You should do the same. Donald Trump said, this binder here, this binder, throw it in the trash. These people that did it, fired them.
Wow.
So Donald Trump had every freaking tool to work through that pandemic.
But here's where I'm pushing back, and I see your comment. Rebecca said, hold up. Rebecca says Trump is responsible. Trump is responsible for COVID. Rebecca, no, keep going there first, Fuzzer.
No. I'm sorry. I just want to say, like you say, what say you?
Okay, all right, fair enough. I'm trying to get this straight. That's a fair point, but here's my take on it. I don't think anybody could have guaranteed a good economy through COVID. Now, Trump handled COVID miserably. I'm not trying to make any excuse for it. I think the way he handled the pandemic was terrible. But I don't believe even Obama, you're talking about Obama's great economy and things like that. I don't think if Obama was president during the time of COVID, the economy would have remained strong because he was being advised to shut everything down. So the states that did shut everything down, their economies got hit the worst. In fact, the states that maintained a decent economy throughout COVID were states like Florida that refused to shut stuff down. So I think you're over criticizing Trump.
So I don't disagree with you to some extent. Yeah, every economy would have gotten hit. Yeah. There were challenges, and we saw it worldwide. Who got hit the most? But we can't just look at the economy. Yeah, sure, Florida flourished because they didn't shut down. Go look at their death tallies.
Yeah.
And you know what? They stopped reporting. Abbott also stopped reporting.
Well, but Governor Cuomo in New York did the same shit. They had a nice death tally in New York as well. Governor Cuomo wasn't reporting either.
No, he reported up to, for quite some time. But you got to remember, Cuomo, and Cuomo also lost his job over it. Yeah. Fucking those 2 other ones are still in there. But Cuomo, and he's looking at lawsuits over it. But Cuomo was the first hot city. You gotta understand that. I mean, he got hit first and first most, and went on, and he's just like, where do we stop counting? Where do we start counting? I mean, at what point? He is the first state that had cooler tanks outside or outside for
the bodies. For bodies, yeah.
Yeah, literally, that's what was happening.
But wait a minute, we're getting into COVID deaths, and I'm just simply saying, I don't think I'm overstating it on Trump's economy. I think that the economy under Trump was doing fairly well until we started having COVID hit.
It was maintained. It was just maintained. It wasn't He didn't fuck it up. He plateaued it.
Okay, even if Obama leaves him a good economy and he maintains a good economy, as you're saying, even that's something he should get credit for. He didn't fuck it up.
The second he had a chance to fuck it up, he fucked it up.
He didn't fuck it up. COVID is something that would have fucked up anybody's economy.
You have to take all 4 years into it. If he has 2 years, everyone says, the first 18 months is the previous president. That's typically around the number, 18 to 24 months. So what did he do? He had 12 months of maintaining an economy before he fucked it up. You have to give all 4 years. You cannot take a snap.
I understand the point there, but if we want to say you got to give him all 4 years, I think that anybody under his situation would have had a bad economy. I think even under Biden, if Biden was president when COVID hit, the economy would have taken a hit. I mean, I just think that any president.
Biden took over a COVID-ridden economy, and he has brought down inflation. He got vaccination.
Yeah, but when Biden took over, he got it from a standpoint of we started understanding what it was. We started understanding how to treat people. A vaccine was created, which came from Trump. I mean, Biden got COVID in a much better. Biden wasn't dealing with COVID in its infancy like Trump was.
Right.
By the time he came along, he was in a better situation to deal with it.
Well, what's the largest criticism of Biden? Probably. What, other than the wars?
His mental health.
What's that?
His mental health is his largest criticism.
What about inflation?
I mean, the economy, obviously, but I would say his mental health and probably the border.
Okay, him personally. I thought you were talking. No, I'm talking about in handling the nation, not him personally.
The border, I would say, is probably worse.
The economy, would you say his economy is because inflation? Everyone talked about inflation. They ran on the problem with inflation.
Yeah, I get it, but I think
so. If you eliminate COVID from both presidencies, which one was better?
You still gonna have the border. You still gonna have. Hold on now. Understand these ain't problems that I perceive to be real bad, but a lot of Americans do. Like for instance, the whole transgender issue thing. That's a real big problem in America. I was amazed at how people actually voted on that.
You called it a problem. That's just an issue.
That's why I said it's a big difference between what something is and what people perceive it as. For me, I thought it was insane that people were actually, you living in Alabama voting on, I don't want dudes playing on girls' team. That ain't happening in your whole fucking state. But yet people actually perceive that to be a big issue. And that happened under Biden's watch. There was a bunch of things that were happening. You say between Trump and Biden.
Watch too.
Huh?
It was happening under Trump's watch.
It was invisible.
There were transgender people under Trump's watch. We just didn't make a big deal of it.
Right, so they were invisible.
There were the cross-dressing, the library readings. There were that happening.
They were invisible. Well, and that's why Trump gets the win. That's why he gets the credit. Is he knows how to make a big issue of stuff, whereas Biden was just trying to be president and not on TV every day. Americans want you on TV.
Agree with that. That's Donald Trump and the Republicans definitely won social media. Yeah. No doubt about that. They'll win it every single day of the week. I guess we just hit every fucking topic, so I don't know. We might be done. Is there anything else you want to talk about? So what's your team?
Bears.
Oh, Chicago. Yeah, we got you beat. All so anyways, Tim, it's always a pleasure. I can't believe you called me Farlow or Furlow.
No, there's somebody in the comments named Farlow waiting to come up. That's why I called you that. There's another my next guest, that will be their name.
Oh, so you meant to hit someone else and you accidentally brought me.
You're a subscriber, though, so that's how that works. Appreciate
Okay.
it. I gotta go.
All right, Ted.
All
Always
right.
good talking to you, buddy. I'll
Anytime,
talk to you later.
anytime. Yeah. Edgy says, so you want more crime to keep cops employed? No, wait, no, I don't, speeding, moving violations, I don't put that in the same category as a crime. I don't. I hear what you're saying, but no, I don't put that in the same category. That's not a crime, in my opinion. Why did they block him from selling billions in shares when it was approved by shareholders? Why Dems get involved in a non-government company? Would you stay on their side? Not if I'm Elon. Yeah, okay, that's a good point. If I'm Elon, I might not. But the Democrats are not big fans of people being able to make infinite wealth. The Republicans are. The Democrats tend to believe that there probably should be some kind of limit on how much money you're making. Like Elon Musk, for instance, well on his way to being worth $1 trillion. I mean, most folks believe that by the time Trump's presidency is over in January 2029, that Elon Musk will be likely worth $1 trillion. The Democrats are not fans of that. The Democrats believe there should be a limit on how much one man can make. I know folks say that's socialism and all of that. We can debate that all day, every day, but that's the way the Dems feel. The right feels that nothing should stop you from how much you're earning. So that's why I always say, when people say, well, why the hell would anybody ever vote Republican? I'm like, that's the number one reason, in my opinion. If you got a bunch of money and you don't want people telling you what to do with it, you don't want to be forced to share it, you don't want people making you pay tax. The Republican Party is the way to go. I mean, if you are wealthy and that's your biggest concern is your bottom line, I don't want to share. I don't want somebody telling me I got to pay my employees more in minimum wage, or I got to cover their health care, or I got to let them unionize, which all affects my bottom line, or I got to pay more taxes because I'm a billionaire. I don't want to do any of that. You should vote Republican. Republicans are going to guarantee that stuff doesn't happen. So there are legitimate reasons to vote Republican, but I do believe more reasons exist if you are wealthy versus if you are poor. Because if you're poor and I'm homeless, I need somewhere to. The Republican, that's when the Democrats kick in. When you're poor and you need things, the Democrats are more likely to help you. But if you're wealthy and you want to hold on to your money and all, then the Republicans. That's my opinion. You might disagree. And how are we letting people who want revenge be in charge? Non-bias is needed, says Nick. Well, we're letting people who want revenge be in charge because a lot of voters believe that they're not taking revenge. They believe that it's justice. They believe that the likes of Liz Cheney, for instance, they're suggesting that she was witness tampering during the January 6 hearings. So they want to be, if she committed some kind of crime to go after Trump, they want to be the prosecutor. General Milley, for instance, reaching out to his Chinese counterpart. That ain't revenge. They believe the guy committed a crime. They believe Jack Smith and Merrick Garland, all. I don't know all of the crime, but they believe these people committed crimes and violations. Is it revenge based? Probably. But if you can make a case where they actually did something wrong, then it is justice in a sense as well. But yeah, I do believe that Trump is a vengeful person, and if you do something wrong, if you do something that Trump perceives as wrong, he's going to come after you. I do believe that. So we'll see. But I also believe there's a strong possibility, and one that I support, that Biden should pardon those folks and get them out of Trump's way. I think he should pardon Milley and Smith, Jack Smith and Merrick Garland and Liz Cheney. Just pardon them. I mean, for the simple fact is, all of those trials are going to be super expensive to the American taxpayer and very divisive to the country. And I don't feel confident by any stretch of the imagination that Trump is not going to go after some of them people. I know Trump said his retribution will simply be winning and he's not going to go take revenge on. I don't buy that. I don't believe it. I just tell you flat out, I personally do not believe it. If Biden doesn't pardon those folks, I hope I'm wrong, but there's no way in hell I believe that. I do believe that if Trump becomes president, some of them folks, shit, you might hear him going out to Alvin Bragg and Fonnie Willis by the time he's done. There's a large MAGA base that supports going after them folks. That stuff would divide the country up. You're going to have hearings on TV. Congressional hearings and all of that shit's going on. Trump and Elon's gonna be on Twitter, tweeting shit about it. Maybe going after lawyers and stuff because they didn't question them the right way. Just a mess. Just a mess. Why would you have Liz Cheney up there for 10 hours and you not ask her this question? You should be fired. Or why didn't you do that? You did not. So now you're going after somebody else too. I just think for the sake of unity, Biden should just pardon them and get them out of the way. It's not like these individuals, it's not like Liz Cheney, if you don't send her to jail, she's going to go out and kill a bunch of people. She's harmless. I don't think I just say pardon those folks, get them out of the way, and let's focus on running the country. But I know MAGA wants some of them folks to dangle. I know they do. Looking in the comments though, Trump only has one term. He ain't worried about that. Wait a minute. You said Trump only has one term. He ain't worried about that shit. He's worried about trying to fix America. If he wasn't worried about that shit, then why does he say stuff like that? It becomes difficult with Trump because some of the things we talk about on the program, Trump supporters often say, you don't have to worry about that, or he didn't mean that, or he was just joking. I believe in taking somebody at that level at their word. I don't want to have to get to a point where we got to sift through what he actually meant and what he's playing and what he's joking about. Either what we didn't hire a comedian, we didn't elect a comedian. I want to be a dictator on day one. What the hell does that mean? Well, he didn't mean that. He meant that. Why can't he be fucking literal? Why does he have to be comical all the damn time? Now, for folks who say, well, the liberals got Trump derangement syndrome and y'all just hate Trump, he sure make it kind of easy when he's doing stuff like that. Why can't he just speak in? Wasn't he the guy we elected because he shoots straight from the hip? He tells it and calls it like he sees it. Well, all of a sudden we're getting all these jokes and references and shit. So you're leaving it up to the American people to try to figure out what the hell he's talking about. Did we vote in the Riddler? So at the end of the day, if he says something wild and people hold him accountable for saying something wild, I don't blame the people. I'm not here to tell folks that you need to have some kind of deciphering tool to understand what he's saying. He can speak clearly. He knows how to do that. TDS equals sanity, says Chris. So if you got Trump derangement syndrome, you actually are a sane person. Pardoning people for crimes that haven't even been brought up is diabolical. Well, he's going to say that the crimes they committed have not been brought up because the people that had the ability to bring them up are corrupt too. So, keep in mind that the Trump administration believes that whole systems of our government are corrupt. The entire FBI, the CDC, like the whole system is corrupt. So, with that mindset, that's where that comes. Let me go back to the box. Farlow, good evening. Tap the screen, folks. Get the likes up to about 40,000. I think we can make that happen. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Farlow, good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right, good. I have ear sets on. Sometimes TikTok's weird with it.
Okay, fair enough. And by the way, for my TikTok viewers, tap the screen. Get the likes up to 40,000. It's a lot of lazy thumbs in here. Tap the screen. So what do you think? Are we getting it wrong on Trump? Is he our savior indeed?
I don't know about all that. I'm a libertarian. But if Vivek and Elon, who are libertarian, start cutting some of these departments and spending, then inflation will die and the economy will be better.
So what about the claim that they're cutting spending like children's cancer research and shit like that?
I believe that passed already. I don't even know why that's even an issue coming up.
I haven't heard that it passed. I heard that they were it passed and they were receiving the money, but then I heard that they were trying to stop that from happening as part of the cuts.
No, I haven't heard that. I heard liberal media saying that, but I haven't heard anything else.
Well, you're not going to hear you don't expect the right or libertarian media to admit that he did something horrible like that, would you? Just like I often brought up Trump talking about.
Yes, libertarian media would say something like that. We're different from the two-party system. We would say like it's going to hurt, but this is what we're going to do. And I haven't heard anything about them cutting that at all.
Okay. All right. Well, it's definitely floating around. If the liberal media is saying it, if it's completely fabricated, I'd like somebody to explain why, because it is definitely out there.
Yeah, the Russia hoax was out there too, and then it was like, oh, it was a lie, but y'all knew it was a lie, and you still perpetrated it.
I don't know when it comes to the Russia hoax, as you say hoax. I don't know if it's 100% a lie because Robert Mueller said I cannot find enough to convict Trump on, but at the same time I can't exonerate him either. So that doesn't mean it's a lie.
I'm not saying it's a lie. They knew
But you
they
said
had
it's a
nothing to get him
hoax.
on.
You said it's a hoax.
Right. They knew that they had nothing to get him on, and they let him be investigated anyway, just to get the same result. He was not. He was investigated and he was exonerated.
Yeah,
Even
but,
though Mueller didn't exonerate him, when they tried to what's it called, impeach him,
right.
he was exonerated, knowing that the Republicans had the Senate and they were going to exonerate him. That's a waste of time and money.
I don't disagree with that, but that is politics. I mean, the same thing with Hillary Clinton and some of that stuff. I mean, both sides do that. I don't know, and we don't have we don't have a libertarian, but both
He
sides
said he
do
was going
that.
to put her in jail when he was elected. He didn't put her in jail.
Then why say it?
Sometimes he could. Bro, I agree.
Yeah, he's
But
just
you saying you don't. Why is he saying crazy things?
Yeah.
Why should I believe him at his word? He said he was going to put Hillary Clinton in jail, and he let her go. So let's let him get in office first before we say he's going to be doing all these crazy.
Yeah,
things.
but then again, we're voting him in because we want him to drill. We're voting him in because we want him to end the war in 24 hours. If he's lied about putting Hillary Clinton in jail, the obvious question becomes, what else might he be lying about? I mean, clearly he makes promises that he has no intentions of doing.
Let me be clear. I'm not a Trump supporter. Okay, some of his policies I will benefit from. Yes, but I'm not a supporter because he exaggerates the truth. We all know this. Whether you're a MAGA or whether you're a Democrat, he exaggerates the truth.
Yeah, or a Haitian migrant.
Now, I got Haitian in my family. I'm not going to say nothing about that.
Wait, hold on. Now you done brought that up. If you got Haitians in your family, do they eat cats and dogs?
Some Haitians who practice voodoo do, yes, but it's not widespread like he was saying.
Okay. You think it's happening in Springfield?
Not to the degree which the news is required. No.
Okay. All right. I wish he had to show some proof of that shit. That would have made it. If he just showed some evidence, a lot of these things, stop the steal with the election. If he actually showed evidence of a lot of this stuff, it would really quiet a lot of these controversies down. He says a lot of things and provides no evidence at all. You know, everything, and it started out with Barack Obama being born in Kenya, and it's continued to happen. Like, could you show some evidence of some of this stuff you actually say? Or better yet, it started out with Ted Cruz's dad killed President Kennedy. Like, you just say wow shit.
I think he did and said anything to get elected, and it worked twice.
That's scary.
It is.
That is scary.
Politics.
I mean, you basically said he said anything to get elected and it works. I mean, so what does that say about the American people? Does that mean we'll just buy anything somebody says?
No, you can decipher through the BS and say, do I believe he's going to do this, this, and this? And what about this crazy stuff he said? I don't believe that. So you're voting on the stuff that you think he's actually going to do.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is you're leaving it up to every single voter to interpret what is he saying that's garbage versus what is true. I mean, because that's the way this works. Is the only way you're gonna see him as favorable is you have to have the right way to decipher what he's saying as opposed to what is true and what it, because a lot of people buy everything he says. Some people doesn't buy, some people know this is real and this is not. Why not just, as he was voted in to do, speak from the hip, tell it like you see it? Why not just be truthful and quit making up shit?
That's not the way politics works. That you have to control the narrative.
Wasn't he voted in because he wasn't a typical politician?
Yes, but
he sure got acclimated to that pretty quick, huh?
He used to be a donor. So he was always in politics, even though he ran on that. That's another exaggeration.
You can say the word lie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, those are.
I can, but sometimes exaggerations.
What's the difference?
Are based on the truth. Some exaggerations.
Okay.
Like he said, when they came across the border, some of them, he said, some of them are racist. Some of them.
No, he didn't say. He said they're not sending us their best and brightest. They're sending us their rapists and murderers, indicating that the only people. Go ahead.
You go back and look it up. He said some of them are rapists, some of them are
You heard.
murderers and all that, and then he said some are good people.
No, he said they're not. Mexico is not sending us their best and brightest. They're sending us their rapists and murderers. I assume some of them are good people. In other words, there might be a few good people in the crowd, but most of them are rapists and murderers. I think you got that backwards. How you said that?
You can play it if you want.
Yeah, let's. For shits and giggles, we can certainly make that happen. But I do believe that the way he stated it, indicated that most of them that are coming across the border are rapists and murderers, and there might be a few good ones in the crowd. That's the way.
These are the best.
Here's what does this say here? Now this says Trump did not say Mexicans are rapists and murderers. So I don't know whose clip is this, but we'll hear it.
And these are the best and the finest. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people. But I speak to border guards, and they tell us.
So he said some, I assume. So in other words, he's not even for sure.
Yeah, he didn't use words. Most of them are rapists. He didn't say most of them are thieves. He didn't say most of anything.
He said He said some I assume are. Hang on. He said some I assume are good people. In other words, I don't even know if they're good people. I assume they are. He didn't say he assumed they were rapists and murderers. He didn't say I assume they're drug dealers. He know they drug dealers. He know they're rapists and murderers. He assumed that some of them might be good.
That's correct.
Yeah, so most of them are bad.
But some of them are bad people too. We can agree on that.
He made it sound like he's confident.
No. That's your interpretation. He didn't say most. He didn't say the large vastity of them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't.
That's what he said.
If I tell you I assume you're a man, that means that I'm not even for sure you're. If he said I assume that some of them are good people, he's making it. I'm not even for sure any of these people are good. Am I interpreting that wrong?
I think when he said some are good people, and he didn't use words like most, all of them, or the majority of them are in these categories, because which he did not say, because you played it. He did not say use any of those words, any of those adjectives.
I think him simply.
Hold on. I'm gonna ask you a serious question. Where did you get the majority of them are bad people? That's what I'm trying to get out of you.
Well, if I tell you, I'm answering. If I tell you I assume some of these people are good, that means I don't even know I'm not even for certain that any good people exist in this crowd. That means the rest of them have to be all bad. I think that alone says it.
That's not true either. That's not true either. Some of them are bad. Some of them are good people. It's just some of them are.
How do you know? He said he assumed. Wait.
70-30.
He said I assume some of them are good people. In other words, if I make an assumption, I might be wrong, right?
He doesn't know them. Therefore, he can say some of the good people. Now, listen to this. Listen to this. Is he wrong that some of them are drug dealers and rapists? Is he wrong? Yes or no?
Say that again?
Is he wrong when he said that some of them are drug dealers and rapists and traffickers and bringing drugs into the country? Is he wrong? Yes or no?
No, I'm sure that out of the millions of folks that came here, if one of them raped somebody, then he's right.
Right, and isn't that not happening at the border?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it's happened. But
exactly. So he's not lying.
Yeah,
he wasn't lying there.
I
don't understand why people are. I don't see why people did not like what he just said. He was telling the truth. Now, if he just said the majority of them, then I'd be like, "Sir, you're off your rocker." Because you're talking out your ass. But he was just saying in general. Maybe he was vague. Okay, he was vague.
Yeah, I think
maybe you need to be more specific.
Yeah, if I tell you, if I come to your house and I say I assume some of you guys are decent people, that makes it sound like I'm not even for sure any of y'all are decent in here. I don't see how you're hearing that any different than that.
Or I don't really know I'm making an educated guess, which is a hypothesis, which is a scientific, something you do in science. There's nothing wrong with that.
But you notice,
What's wrong with that?
here's what's wrong with it. You notice that he didn't, when it came around to them being good, he assumed some of them are good. But when he started talking about rapists and he didn't have any, he didn't say, I assume some of them are raping. I assume some of them are murder. He was solid on that. But when it came to any of them being good, well, I assume some of them might be good.
He said the same thing about the people in Charlottesville. Some of them were good people. Did he not?
I don't know what that's got to do with this, though.
He called out the people that he was disgusted by, the white supremacists. He called them out.
He didn't call them out for 3 days. They had to practically beg him to do that.
No, he's called a white supremacy myth lots of times.
You said what?
Lots of times he called out white supremacy.
He didn't. Well, when that happened in Charlottesville, I don't want to get too deep into Charlottesville, but when that happened, he said, I assume they were. He didn't call out white supremacy at all. That just like when he has had to be sweated to call out white supremacy in every case. When David Duke endorsed him, he didn't know who the hell David Duke was. When Nick Fuentes showed up at his house, he didn't know who the hell Nick Fuentes was. He has to be egged on to finally come around and say, yeah, what they represent is wrong. He don't ever do it on his own. It takes days, it takes urging. Even when he tweeted out a video of a guy yelling white power, his response was, I didn't hear it. And Tim Scott had to beg him to take that down. Anytime he doesn't want to admit so, I don't know what that is. I didn't hear it. I mean, the white power video is clear as day. You can hear the guy yelling it out. And he gave no reference to why would you tweet this out to begin with? Never explained it or anything. Well, I didn't hear it. Then why the hell you tweet it out? So what was the goal of tweeting this out if you didn't tweet it out for that? So I'm just simply saying some of the stuff he says is obviously not true.
Okay, let's unpack it because you said a lot there. You said he didn't deny David Duke or he had to be goaded in there. If you Google, did Donald Trump deny David Duke, I think you're going to find a lot of videos where he's denying David Duke.
No, he first said he didn't know who he was. He denied him.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. And I was like, bullshit.
Right. Kanye West. Hold up. Kanye West showed up to his house. Kanye West showed up to his house with Nick Fuentes. You believe that?
Say again?
When Kanye West showed up to his house with Nick Fuentes, he said he didn't know who Nick Fuentes was. You believe that?
I don't know who Nick Fuentes is. I'm sorry.
You're the president of you're the former president of the United States. You're a huge star. Hold on, I get that. He's also a white supremacist. But what I'm saying is, Trump said he didn't know who the dude is. Okay, you're the former president of the United States. You're a huge target. You're considering running again. You gonna just let Kanye West show up to your house with somebody and you don't ask him who is this dude or nothing at all?
I think the fact that he showed up with a black guy, he didn't question if he was a white supremacist or not.
Kanye West himself said Hitler did great things.
Listen to what I'm saying though. Look, if you showed up with a white supremacist, I'm not going to assume the guy that you're with is a white supremacist. What is a white supremacist hanging out with a black guy for?
I'm not going to let you show up to my house if I'm running for president without knowing who the hell you bringing, period. I'm not going to make any assumptions.
I agree.
Yeah. So the idea that
regular person. I'm talking about a regular person. If I show up to your house and a white guy was with me, would you assume he's a white supremacist? Yes or no?
No. But if you had done crazy shit like, hold on, hang on. If you had been known to do crazy shit like Kanye West, I would want to know who the hell that dude is. I mean, Kanye West is
agreed.
Ain't nothing about Kanye West typical of the average everyday black man. I mean, the statements he's made. So even if I don't assume that's a white supremacist, knowing some of the crazy shit Kanye West said, who the hell you bringing by my house, dude? I would ask the Secret Service, run a background. Who is this person? So the idea that Kanye West showed up with somebody and Trump had no clue who that guy is, that makes no fucking sense at all.
You said Kanye West. I thought you said somebody else was. Okay, Kanye West. I thought you were talking about the guy from the representative from Texas. You're talking about the rapper Kanye West.
He showed up.
Ask a question.
Yeah.
A few screws loose of
right. And Trump gonna say he didn't know who the dude was that Kanye West showed up to his crib with. That ain't believable.
Who's Nick Fuentes? So who is Nick Fuentes? Which doesn't even sound all the way white. But go ahead.
He isn't all the way white, but he sure identifies as one. He is a trans.
Okay,
He's a
gotcha.
he's a trans white supremacist. If there is a term.
He said, nigga, what the wait for Fuentes?
Yeah,
This
he's a
guy, no, he can't. I mean, he could be. I mean, God forbid, don't let me assume, but that don't sound like a all white name right there.
Well, George Zimmerman is another trans. I mean, he's not white either. He's
Yeah.
Hispanic, so he's a trans. Some of them, some people decide I'm a minority trapped inside of a white supremacist body. So sometimes it happens. He's trans. I
Hey,
got
man,
it
like
moving on, man. Good talk, though. Real good
always
talk.
appreciate talking to you. Always appreciate giving you the libertarian perspective.
Hey, you always
All right,
welcome on
I
the
appreciate
program,
it.
man. You're always welcome. Thank you.
All right,
All right,
no doubt.
moving on with the program. I'm sure I got a few dissenting opinions in the comments. Let me see what I missed out on. It's some crazy folks out here. Yeah, true. But like I said, Trump, anytime something starts not looking like it'll work in his favor, he gets amnesia. He didn't know who Stormy Daniels was when that came out. When him and what was his attorney Michael Cohen, when they started having a falling out. Well, he was just some dude I hired. Like, this dude been working for you for 20 years. Suddenly he barely knew who the dude was, and people be buying this shit. Like, anytime you have I mean, him and Elon Musk fall out. Well, I didn't really know much about the guy. I knew he sold cars. I knew he had some kind of electric vehicle program over. I mean, that's how he does it. When he fall out with you, he don't know who the hell you are, and people be buying that stuff. I look, all of these people know you, and you don't know none of these people. All right, let me go back to the box. But yeah, he said that about his lawyer. He said that about Stormy Daniels. He said that about Nick Fuentes. He said that about the other white supremacist dude. That guy ran for president too. The other guy I'm thinking of, I can't think of his name right now. I mentioned it earlier. David Duke. That guy ran for president down in Louisiana, and I think he got like 30% of the vote down there. So they they were down with the program down. He ran for president back in the 70s or 80s, and he truly was running a white supremacist platform, and he got a lot of votes down there. But you're president and you don't know who this dude is. That made no sense. I mean, Trump's like, at the time Trump was in his late 70s. So you were around when this dude was in his prime. You don't know who he is at all. Not believable. Not believable. So, do you believe Trump? Says what is that? Says 180 something. I don't think everything Trump says is a lie. I think politicians tell lies. I just think Trump's is a bit different for one reason, primarily, is that he was elected because he was not going to be a typical politician. We were tired of typical politicians, wanted to drain us well. He's gotten in there, he's doing all the same shit. I mean, he's just as dishonest as any other politician. We're just okay with it. But he was supposed to not be a typical politician. But he keeps getting caught doing stuff, and the first thing people say, well, they all do it. Or that's what politicians do. I thought he was the opposite of that. So I do push back because people are making excuses when he's doing the same stuff that we were trying to vote other people out for. Also, I'm really hoping that an administration full of billionaires turns out well for the American, the average working guy in America. I don't feel confident about that, but that could be an episode of actually appointing the swamp. Now, Trump was supposed to drain the swamp, but that could be an issue where you might be appointing the swamp. We'll see how that turns out. Remember, Trump made a bunch of bad picks his first go round. The promise was he was going to drain the swamp and put in the best and brightest. I don't think anybody believes he did that his first term. The huge turnover rate, people getting fired constantly. I don't think even his devout supporters, even my beloved MAGA, I don't think you believe that he made a bunch of great appointments the first time. Well, Herschel Walker, what did he give him? Ambassador to Cuba. Now, that's not a very important position, but I still believe that he's still making some bad appointments. Obviously, Matt Gaetz was a terrible appointment. I mean, like, you didn't vet this dude at all. It took, 24 hours. before all sorts of negative vomit came up about Matt Gaetz. Like you didn't vet him at all. Now it looks like he might get Pete Hegseth through. He might get Tulsi Gabbard through, but they do have quite a bit of baggage on them. I think the only thing that hurt Matt Gaetz is he attacked a bunch of folks in Congress when he got rid of McCarthy and stuff like that. If he hadn't done that, they would have the right would have probably put him through, despite all of his indiscretions in the past. They would have, but he had attacked some of them, but they would have probably put him through too. So we'll see, but. I don't know. He doesn't look like he's draining the swamp. It looks like he's still doing what he did the first term, putting in some really unpopular people. Matt would have still been there if he didn't step down himself. I don't think the Republican Party was going to. I don't think Matt Gaetz had the votes. I think that even with Trump's power, he pissed off so many Republicans. I don't think he had the votes. So Trump could have kept pushing them and making threats, which is kind of how they're running the administration now. Either you vote my people in or my people gonna vote you out. I mean, he's not really allowing Congress and the Senate to act independently. He's kind of like either you do what I say or we're gonna vote you out, which means that you gotta trust that he's not making any mistakes. Because you gotta ride with him. If he's forcing you to ride with shit and he appoints the wrong person, then all of you guys are on record as supporting this person. He's not giving them the power of independent thought. I mean, Elon Musk is already talking about if you don't go with this pig, you should be voted out in 2 years. So they're operating under the umbrella of threats. Now I will say this about Elon, because folks are already calling him President Elon and calling Trump the vice president. I don't think it would be any different if Elon was a liberal. I really don't. I mean, you put $450 million behind somebody. I think we all idolize money, certainly at that level. I mean, isn't that one of the reasons we put Trump in? Is he was a successful businessman, and America needs to be ran like a business. What was one of the reasons we liked him? In addition to him draining the swamp and talking about he's going to upset everything. Well, Elon Musk checks off every box for why Trump got elected. The only difference is he is not an American citizen at birth, but he's promising to do everything Trump did, and he is far more successful at that stuff. I mean, if you think Trump is a successful businessman, then Elon Musk is in a whole another galaxy. I mean, you could put a few hundred Trumps together and come up with one Elon, and that's assuming that Trump was being honest when he came down the escalator and said he was worth $15 billion. I don't think he's worth that much, but let's say he is worth $15 billion. He still is what, one, fraction. He's a fraction of what Elon is worth. So if that's the reason why you want, you liked Trump because he was a successful businessman, then Elon should really tickle your fancy. And like I said, I think Elon would have a lot of power even if he was a liberal. I mean, politicians love money. Elon is in a position where he could literally lobby to most of Congress, if not all of Congress, simultaneously, left and right. Remember, Trump talked about how much he knew the system because he has lobbied and worked with people on both sides. If he could do that at his level of having a few billion, imagine what Elon could do. I've said this on a video. A few people criticized me, but I still stand behind it. I do believe, or let me just say it this way, I would not be surprised if there was a push by the powers that be to change the rules to let Elon Musk run for president. I know it sounds fucking ridiculous. I get it. But we change rules all the time. Right now they're talking about changing the rules so that you cannot be an anchor baby and gain citizenship anymore. That's in the Constitution. They're talking about changing that. When Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor of California, and the right was very favorable to having a well-liked celebrity governor in California. They were flirting with changing the rules so that Arnold Schwarzenegger could possibly run for president. They weren't talking about it. Arnold Schwarzenegger ain't got shit on Elon Musk. So I know it sounds ridiculous, but there is precedent for it. We've already talked about changing the rules once so that somebody can run. Now, like I said, he could lobby to everyone at once. So if you get Trump or you get, one of the JD Vance or one of the powers to be to say, look, I propose, you whether you agree with me or disagree with me, I propose this guy is what America has been longing for, and that we should consider opening up the gateway for somebody of this stature to run for president of this country. And then you just tell Elon behind the scenes, you need to make sure that the politicians that are going to vote on this are happy. He can lobby to all of them. He could literally put hundreds of thousands of dollars in their political campaigns. Every single one of them. Every single one of the Congress members, every single one of the Senate. He got enough money to lobby to every single. Well, you gonna tell me that vote is impossible to get? Because that's who decides it. It ain't you or me. It would be one of them. It's only like 500 and some odd Congress, 50, 100 senators. He could easily get them each several 100,000, if not a few million. Easily. You telling me this? You really believe this is impossible? I know it sounds far-fetched, but having a candidate run that could one day be worth $1 trillion seemed far-fetched as well. Let's say Trump does his 4 years and Elon Musk is looking at a bank account that's damn near worth $1 trillion. Easily could lobby to every politician that would be behind the vote to vote whether he could be allowed to legally run or not. He could easily, that kind of money can change a whole lot of hearts and minds. A whole lot of hearts and minds can be changed when you're throwing that kind of money around. Don't say it's impossible. I hope it doesn't happen. But when you got that kind of fucking money, anything is possible. Billionaire's been running the country on both sides of his head. Yeah. And I really believe this can be done. I really believe that you're going to have some politicians that just like Elon, period, that might already be okay with him potentially being a candidate for president. The ones who are against it, buy them off. It's got to be some out there that you need or you like or you favor. How about yourself? You want to be congressman until you're old and gray, right? Well, how about we put a stadium in your town or something that your constituents will keep voting for you for? We can make that happen. I just need this vote. You're going to tell me you think this is impossible that Elon Musk couldn't? It's only 100 senators and 500 and some odd members in Congress. It's only like 600 people. You think Elon Musk can't sway enough of them? Really? I disagree with that kind of money. Looking in the comment section, Elon doesn't want the restraining government dragging him down. Once he's in charge, he's making the fucking rules. That's the problem, is that you say you don't want the government dragging him down. Once he's head of the government, he's going to get rid of all the drag. He's going to lift up the flaps and pull in the landing gear. All of the drag is going to be reduced. That's how you do it. I would submit to you that by the time Trump's term is done, you'll probably have all sorts of government vehicles that are produced by Tesla. His space program may suddenly be our space program. The taxpayers may be funding all sorts of R&D projects with Elon Musk's space program. There's going to be money coming to this dude hand over fist. Hand over fist. Those are jobs being created. Some of that stuff's going to advance American technology. I think you would have a lot of people just based on that already suggesting that he might be a good president. And then, like I said, when he can put millions of dollars into the lobbying efforts of whatever politician is putting up resistance, America's for sale. We are a capitalist country. You do realize that, right? We are a capitalist country. It ain't always about morals. Sometimes it's about money. If you think it's impossible for Elon to become president with $1 trillion, with a bank account that's almost $1 trillion at the end of Trump's term, that doesn't make sense to me. I really believe that's possible. Ed says, so he can do what Fink has been doing for 20 plus years. Who is Fink? What are you talking about? That's the fucking problem. Well, you don't want, remember when Obama came along, how much we hated socialism? We like capitalism, right? Well, capitalism is based on money. People can be bought off in the capitalist system. And that's what can happen. This is where the Dems fell huge. They make up all kinds of fantasy predictions. I don't disagree that the Dems can go too far on some things, but this is one. I didn't say it's gonna happen, but if you think it's a fantasy, if you truly feel confident that there is no way possible this could ever happen, a dude with $1 trillion that's already in government that has the blessing of a highly popular president, you feel 100% possible there's absolutely no way that the Republicans would ever put up for a vote whether or not Elon Musk run. 100% possible. I don't think it's as far right. I don't think it's as far of a radical viewpoint as you think it is. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but the idea that it couldn't, when that guy could potentially have $1 trillion, yeah, I disagree with you. May as well call him God King Musk. I mean, a man with $1 trillion can make a lot happen. A man with $1 trillion can make a whole lot happen. He can make a whole lot of people forgive you and ignore stuff, turn the other way on stuff, vote ways they didn't intend to vote. That is a ton of money. It's a ton of money. 100% no way Elon would ever become president. I don't know why you think that. I would like to know what you're basing that on. I think we all know politicians can be bought. I know a lot of you folks feel that Trump cannot be bought, but even the right believes that most right wingers can be bought. They just think Trump can't be bought, but Trump can be bought too. You throw enough money anybody's way. What was it? The mafia that once said everybody, every man has his price or something like that. Notice how Trump was very critical of alternative energy. Windmills cause cancer. He didn't like solar panels. He was constantly talking about the lack of range for e-vehicles and lithium batteries and all. Notice how he ain't said none of that no more. Elon Musk gave him 450 mil, and he suddenly ain't criticizing e-vehicles at all anymore. Anybody can be bought. Anybody can. Remember when he talked about after the Mandalay Bay mass shooting that to get guns out of the hands of mentally ill people, sometimes you got to take the gun away and then give them due process because it takes too long to give somebody due process. 24 hours later, he had changed his tune. Many people believe the NRA got in his ear. Anybody can be bought. Trump is not beyond the realm of being able to be bought. Anybody can be bought. And when you got the potential of having $1 trillion, you can buy a lot of people. That's what oligarchs do, says Richard. Yeah, maybe, but I'm just telling you, you got access to $1 trillion. People, we are in a country where people idolize power and money. Even the everyday average citizen. How many voters keep telling you we voted for Trump because he is a successful businessman and we need the country to be ran like a business? What is the only purpose of a business? To make profit. That's it. It's not to be caring, not to be concerned with the citizenry or any of that shit. It's to make money. They don't give a damn if I got to fire you because I'll save money. I'm going to fire you. They don't care nothing about the personal nature of it, which is, in my opinion, and I meant to post a video I did on this. I titled it, "What's Wrong with America?" I titled it in regards to the CEO of, what do you call it, of United Health. And there's another case I mentioned like that, but it just shows that, the Biden's pardon was the other case. Biden pardoned a judge, a very unpopular pardon that Biden did. Pardoned a judge that was literally sending kids to jail because the judge had an associate that owned a for-profit penal institution. So the judge was working with somebody who owned a jail and would make money off the kids being incarcerated. And the guy who owned the jail was giving the judge financial kickbacks. They called it, kids for cash or something like that. Biden pardoned that dude. Anyhow, one of the worst pardons I've heard, but one of the things I talked about is that just shows what's wrong with America is that everybody is focused on money. People just like the United Health CEO. I mean, I don't care if you die. If it saves our company money, we'll deny the procedure if we can get away with it. Our country is too money oriented. And that's why I'm also telling you that I believe Elon Musk could become president if he talks to the right people, because most of Washington is money oriented. We don't like socialism. Remember, we like capitalism. Well, capitalism is about making money. It's not about being, I mean, there's a reason why we have more people in this country incarcerated than any other country in the free world in terms of numbers and in terms of per capita. We have more people that are incarcerated because we have a lot of for-profit prisons. We have a lot of people that are being locked up because somebody else is making money keeping them incarcerated. And just our whole system is money oriented. Why would you not believe this guy can't become president? We're willing to lock up our own citizens to help somebody benefit financially. That's the whole country is about money. I was just talking about Chicago and towing and shit like that from the just the city administration, county, state, federal. The whole system is based on money. The whole damn system, but you don't believe Elon can do that. Fink is BlackRock CEO. How is him supplying EVs, which is better for climate, bad? Ford was giving trucks and military vehicles to Adolf until 1944. Wow. I'm just simply saying Trump changed his tune. Trump's tune about e-vehicles was negative until Elon started backing him. That's all I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with anything else you're talking about. I'm just simply saying Trump was very critical of electric vehicles and lithium batteries until Elon Musk joined his team. And all of a sudden, all the criticism stopped. He got bought. He got bought. That's all I'm saying. He got bought. I don't know if once Elon Musk showed up, Elon Musk maybe let him know, look, I'm with you, but you can't be criticizing my business. I mean, you know, I'm willing to help you in any way I can, but you understand this money comes from the business you criticizing. Elon Musk got to him. That's all I'm saying. Because he suddenly had nothing bad to say about e-vehicles anymore. Elon, what does that say in the comments? It takes more than just a businessman to run a country. People have to be thought about, not just true. I mean, Trump's is very well spoken as well, but if you got Elon's money, you can get a spokesperson. I mean, it is. He may be I mean, George W. Bush wasn't a great speaker, and he got 2 terms. You can get a spokesperson as long as people are happy financially. They're willing to overlook a lot of shit. I mean, I mean that's just the way this whole country was founded. I mean, I often get into conversations about oppression and race and shit like that. Most white Americans were not looking to oppress. Most white Americans did not own slaves or none of that shit. But if a politician that is pro-slavery can make sure the economy is good for the typical white working man, they were willing to overlook it. Willing to turn look, as long as you're putting food on my table and I got enough money in my bank account and I'm happy, I ain't got nothing to do with what you're doing over there. I'm simply saying if you put money in people's pockets, they will turn a blind eye to all sorts of shit. And if Elon and Trump get in there and the economy's going very well, $2 gas and all this other shit that people are talking about, and you know, the price of eggs is all of a sudden you can afford an omelet again, as if omelets are now $20 a piece. I don't know what the hell that is, but if people are financially happy and he starts talking about, you know, my time is up, but I can give you Elon and I guarantee he can give you 4 more years of this, I think a lot of people would turn a blind eye to it. How many people say that I didn't like this about Trump or I didn't like that about Trump, but I like his policies? That's kind of saying the same damn thing. I didn't like all this other shit, but I'm willing to turn a blind eye to that because his economy was good. His policies were good. It's kind of happening now. So I definitely think if Elon gets in there and he's throwing around all kinds of money, it could happen. You guys sound like you don't know America to suggest that can't happen. I would dare say most of us tuning in right now, I don't know, a few hundred of you folks that are watching me right now, I would dare say that most of you folks watching, if you were a congressman And Elon, what does a congressman make? 100, maybe 100 and some odd thousand, 140, 150 grand a year, something like that, maybe less. I'm willing to put $1 million on your, I'm willing to put $1 million on your campaign fund. I hear you're running again in 2 years. It's $1 million, but you can do whatever you want with the $1 million. If you lose, you can keep it. If you can choose not to run with it, but it'll be there waiting for you if you decide to run. I would dare say a whole chunk of you folks here would probably be able to be bought and would probably vote yay to allow Elon to run. I mean, many of you would do it. These are regular folks that just become congressmen. They just like you and me. Yeah, I definitely think it could happen. 180,000. Rory says they make 180,000. So he's going to put let's say 2 million, 10 times your salary. Not to mention you're going to get the blessing of Trump. Maybe we'll do something for your constituency in your particular area of jurisdiction so that they keep voting you in. So now you got the campaign funds you can keep. Your constituents are very happy. I mean, it could get your vote. You're not that fucking morally high. America's not that way. You can get your vote. And I see in the comments, Laser says you have been bought before too. Admit it. Yes. It resulted in child support, but yeah, it happens. It happens. It ain't always got to be money. You can buy people other ways, and that happens a lot too. Introduce, somebody to the right chick. I mean, there's all kinds of ways you can be bought. All kinds of ways you can be bought. Don't ever think it can't happen. I'm constant with my beliefs, says Chris. It ain't enough of you. It ain't enough of you out there. 100% of the con man shit came out of the 2016 election cycle campaign. I mean, there's always con man shit out there, but I do wish that I think America would be a lot better off if some of the hardcore things Trump says that are when you're accusing people, if he could show evidence and proof of some of that stuff. Like I mentioned, Obama being born in Kenya or Ted Cruz's dad having something to do with the Kennedys. If you could show some proof of some of this stuff, you get the Haitian migrants thing where people are now making bomb threats in that town. You could help ease. You could not cause so much drama when you're just making up these lies. At least show some evidence, show some proof of some of this shit. He doesn't. Almost everybody has a price, says Laser. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Even if you yourself does not want to be bought, I can find there's somebody near you. There's something out there where you got a relative in jail that may need to get out. You got, you got kids in college that got saddled with huge debt, or, apparently your daughter needs a surgery that you can't afford. You can be bought some way, somehow. Okay, he won't take the money. Find something else that he wants. There's always something out there. And if you got Elon's money, you can find it. You don't have to find it for every single member, just enough to swing the vote, just enough to win the majority. I don't think he'd have a hard time doing it, especially if he has Trump's backing. If Elon has Trump's backing, I mean, that's probably a large portion of the Republican voting base right there by itself. People can say no, but I'm telling you, it's more like allocating interest for the fault that we have. If you want to word it that way, Rorik, like Kamala couldn't show proof of the things she said about Trump. Give me some evidence. What do you mean? What did she say that she can't show proof? What did Kamala Harris say about Trump that she can't prove? Like the race? Is someone calling him a racist or some stuff like that? What are you talking about? Lady T, why is she getting live in your I don't quite get that. How does looking up teachers for teaching you Black history make? Okay, I need to read that because I can't see what that says. How does looking up teachers for teaching your Black history help make money for your company? Huh? That ain't but me. How does looking up teachers for teaching your Black history help make money for our company? I have no clue what you're saying there. She accused him of being Hitler for one. Well, Laser, I don't favor calling Trump mustache man and all of that shit, but like when Trump met Biden at the White House a few weeks ago, the first thing he said is, look, sometimes politics can be messy. My opinion is that was Trump kind of giving a pseudo apology to Biden, letting him know, look, I said all kinds of hellacious shit. I was just trying to win, nothing personal. I think that was probably the closest you get to a Trump apology because Biden was very friendly to Trump after all of that stuff, calling him sleepy, making fun of him, falling down, saying, trying to obviously prosecute his son and everything. Biden reached out and invited him to the White House. He didn't have to do that. Friendly, smiling on camera with him and shit. Even his own party didn't like that. I think Trump realized, like, damn, considering how I treated this guy, he had the nerve to be friendly to me. Trump, listen, politics can be dirty sometimes. He said, but today is a good day or whatever. That to me was his apology. Now, when you say that, Kamala called Trump mustache man, that's kind of what floats around. They were calling Obama mustache man. Socialist is okay, they called Trump a racist. I don't see how you get an excuse for calling somebody a socialist. They were calling her, what was it, Comula, like communist. Kamala Harris ain't no fucking communist. So if this is what I often say when I'm speaking to some of my MAGA audience, is that you can see how awful insults are when they're aimed to Trump, but when he's aiming awful insults towards other people, you don't see it as bad. Kamala Harris ain't no communist, ain't nothing about her communist. So it's wrong to call him mustache man, but to call her a communist is okay? Or to call Obama a socialist or Kenyan and all this. I mean, the shit was happening both ways. It would be different if you were saying it's wrong to call Trump this stuff, and he was just simply trying to run the country and make America great, and he's just getting insulted. And all. No, he was deep in the mud on all of this shit. So he doesn't get any sympathy for being called mustache man because he was lobbing all kinds of awful names to people himself, making fun of people falling down, making fun of disabled people. He was deep in the mud. You can't get in the mud and then complain that you got dirty. That ain't how it works. Will says Trump ain't shit. Like, Will, you always open up. Will says Trump ain't shit, but in all realness, Senator Fetterman might be bought by Trump as as his only Democratic friend. I saw Fetterman out of Pennsylvania. Man, he was on This Week with George Stephanopoulos today. Will, I don't disagree with you, Will. Fetterman is not very critical of Trump at all. Fetterman, which is why a lot of folks on the right view Fetterman as somebody they can work with. He's almost, I won't put him in a category of like Senator Joe Manchin, but I could see in the future the Democrats having problems out of Senator Fetterman. Because he is certainly not an in the camp, lock, stock and barrel Democrat. He pushes back on a lot of Democrat shit. I could certainly see Fetterman becoming an issue for the Democrat Party because he criticizes the Democrats a lot. He's starting to sound like Stephen A. Smith. For some of you folks who know who Stephen A. is from ESPN, if you see him on News Nation or if you see him on the internet talking politics, Stephen A. is starting to sound close to Candace Owens. He's sounding pretty damn far to the right. I think Stephen A. is trying to make some extra money by talking politics. But Senator Manchin, his state is more Republican, West Virginia, than Fetterman's is in Pennsylvania. So Senator Manchin could not be very liberal because his state is blood red. But Pennsylvania it's a swing state. It can go either way. But Fetterman he's starting to say, now I see in the comments, Big Boss says he's a centrist. I don't see Fetterman as it could be. Okay. It's center, or not even center left, just almost to the point where he's straight center. Not even center left. I mean, he's starting to get very critical of Democrats. When you see Fetterman being questioned on, he's getting very critical of Democrats. And when he's giving snowball questions about Trump, was he wrong to do it? Well, I can see why he thought that way. I mean, he's starting to get very soft on Trump and very critical on Democrats. Then we have somebody that not only mentioned, but Christian Cinema, didn't she flip and go independent or something like that? I can see Fetterman doing something like that. Now that his state is red to maintain his office, I can see him stepping up and saying he's independent now. Because he is not sounding very liberal. If you see Fetterman doing interviews, he is not sounding very liberal. I see in the comments, Laser said because he wised up. Well, his constituent, his base is not very liberal. So he's probably noticing that if I continue working with the liberals, I might get voted out. Fetterman might be the mention. Yeah, Will. I don't like I said. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing that a little bit too. TFM Constitutional Press says you check my case yet, Ohio. I tried to bring it up. I can't get it to come up. I even put your case in Google, and I could not find your case. I'd have you go to my email address and send me a link or something. I tried to look up your case, and I could not find it. I think you said I got to go specifically to a site. I couldn't find it though. I did look it up. Looking in the comments, there was another one here. 100% sure for sure communist. Gulag are. Yeah, I don't buy that Constitutional Press that Kamala Harris is a communist. I don't buy that at all. I think what happens is a politician passes or tries to pass one bill, and it sounds like something from a communist or socialist group. So they say the whole politician. No, like when Obama was passing universal health care, that's a social policy. So that made him a socialist. Obama was not a socialist. You had 8 years of that guy. America did not come remotely close to being a socialist country. First question I would ask, if you think Obama was a socialist, what is your definition of socialism? We didn't come close to being a socialist country. So calling Trump mustache man, I understand the folks that are insulted by it, but it ain't unique to Trump. Like I just said, calling Obama a socialist. I mean, God knows all the shit they call Hillary Clinton. Said she was drinking the blood of infants and all kinds of shit. It's what happens when you run for office. I don't know why MAGA thought that Trump should be excused. Certainly when he's himself is flinging around all kinds of insults about other people. That's what happens. That's what happens. Trump didn't have millions of people unalived. Depends on who you ask there, Bake Boss, because a lot of folks believe that Trump is responsible for COVID deaths. I get your assuming you're talking about Hillary Clinton, you believe she had people's lives taken away. But a lot of people in this country believe that Trump's poor handling of the pandemic makes him responsible for, as you say, millions of people unalived. At least thousands. A lot of his handling. I'm not going to say he was responsible for deaths, but he definitely did a piss poor job managing the pandemic. The U.S. citizen legitimately does not have access necessarily to the first 8 amendments of the United States Constitution. Check demand of standing. Let me ask you this: in regards, in addition to your case, give me something else that backs up your claim that the average American citizen does not have legitimate access to the first 8 amendments. I know the first is speech. Obviously, the second is gun rights. What is the third? That ain't the soldiers in your home or something like that, is it? Or is that the 8th? Fourth is unwarranted searches and seizures. Fifth is obviously freedom of speech. I used to know them all. I can't remember them all off the top of my head. But you're telling me that the first 8 amendments, the U.S. citizen legitimately does not have access necessarily to the first 8 amendments of the United States Constitution. Check demand of standing. Has anybody else heard that? Has anybody else heard something like that? I got a guest that's saying that right now. Has anybody else heard that you don't have access to the first 8 amendments? I have not heard that. What do you say? Demand of standing. I'll look real quick before we continue on. Who's in the box there? Michael, one of my subs. Good evening, Mike. Mike, have you heard that before? Demand of standing. Have you heard that?
No.
So you do. So you're like me. You've never heard that we don't have access to the first 8 amendments.
Yeah, I haven't. I've never heard that before.
No, I haven't either. I was asking him if he could present some evidence of that because he's brought it up before, and I don't know where to go with it. I'm curious though, just because he said it. I always sometimes look at what folks are saying, but first,
You laughing at me?
say that again. What you say?
I just said,
That was all you needed to say. Sound like my grandmother or something. Mom, I come on with a girl. We just friends, Grandma. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you don't have to be a stud. You don't have to be a historian to know some shit. You just know what it is, and you know what it's not. It just is what it is sometimes.
Yeah. Well, he's saying he has a docket with the Supreme Court. I'd be curious. What are you fighting over? Are you fighting to get people those rights? Because he's saying that he has a docket.
Who's he? Who's he?
His screen name.
Gen X?
No, it's not. This is another viewer. You say Gen X. I don't even think Gen X will say this. This would be more like Timoteo, that guy who believes that.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he has some interesting opinions. TFM Constitutional Press says Ohio Supreme Court website docket 24-1289. It's a PDF demand of standing about halfway down. Go to U.S. citizen legal fiction document. I'm just curious why we haven't heard this from anybody else. That's what's baffling about it. You're the only person I've ever heard say people don't have access to the first 8 amendments. That's unique. Unique. So Elon Musk, is he trying to be further along? Is he trying to be the boss? Do you see any possibility that Elon Musk is trying to overstep his boundaries?
Well, yep, I do. But here's the thing: he's trying to get back. He's trying to get back. He's trying to get ROI, his return on his investment, right?
Shit, how do you return $450 million?
Well, because again, whatever they talked about, what he's expecting from that contribution, from that investment, that's what he's expecting. But here's the funny part, though, Tim. We all know that Trump doesn't treat his investors and people the right way. There's a lot of.
I don't know though, but I don't disagree with that at all. But I do believe Trump is almighty when it comes to Republican voters. But Elon Musk, like I said, because he has so much money, he might be one that could actually challenge Trump because he can pay people to think differently.
Yeah, and he could challenge him. But the biggest thing with Trump, there's not enough money for his ego.
No, what I'm saying though is if him and Trump had a falling out, I think Elon Musk could get the mindset of the people because, like I said, he can pay people to think differently.
Yeah, but I don't think that he would. I don't think he would sway MAGA. I just don't.
Really?
Listen. Have we seen anything change? And you told me last time we talked, no matter what he does, MAGA is not moving away from Trump. You told me that.
Yeah, but I never factored in somebody showing up with $1 trillion to the party.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a different guy. I didn't factor no shit in like that.
No, well, hey, at the end of the day, his ego and how people see him, those two are gonna end up bumping heads.
I believe that was going to be my next question to you. Do you think they might have a falling out? I totally see that because they're both alpha males. They both enjoy the power. They both enjoy the praise. They both got social media pages. They are literally mirrors of each other. Elon is just a bigger mirror, but they literally do the same shit.
Exactly. But who has the ears of MAGA more, Elon or Trump?
Wait, say that again?
Trump has MAGA, period.
Right.
And we've seen him throw people that supported him before underneath the bus. So if they have a falling out, who you think is going to win that social battle? Who you think's going to win that?
Right,
that
right
division?
now, I'm going to go with Trump. But my guess is as time goes on, Elon will become far more stronger and favorable to MAGA. As Trump keeps parading him around, I think Elon's support will get stronger among members of MAGA. I think to the point where shit, JD Vance, because people think he's going to be Trump's successor. I mean, Elon is not technically supposed to be able to run, but I can see avenues where they may try to vote to change that.
Trump is a hero. I'm sorry. I'm reading this dumb stupid.
I
I
see.
try not to be comment. But what I'm saying, you just said, and I agree with you that I can see them having a falling out. We both agree on that, right?
Yes, yes.
So it'll be when it happens.
And the Democrats are egging that shit on. The Democrats are egging that on. President Elon and Vice President Trump. The Democrats are trying to stoke that division.
And they don't need to. they really don't need to. But it will depend on when the falling out happens.
True.
When the falling out happens. But because, Trump does not like anybody to have that spotlight and stage than him. Period.
Elon already took the spotlight when he stepped up and said anybody that vote for that bill need to be voted out in 2 years. And then people started going to Trump and asking him, like, why is this guy, talking? And Trump was like, well, I actually gave him permission to trash the GOP. Bullshit. He spoke out of turn, and for you to make it look like one of your animals didn't run loose, you decided to release that statement. You didn't get this guy permission. He said that shit on his own. But Trump said, I gave him permission to say that.
You're not saying Trump lied, did you? You didn't just say that.
He exaggerated. He was taken out of context.
I'm taking it out of context and he exaggerated. See, this is the fuckery that I be talking about.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, it's going to come to a head. And depending on when it happens, it can shift everything. Because I haven't seen Trump show anyone loyalty that went against him ever.
No. Well, no, that's not true. Marco Rubio went against Trump.
That's not loyal. Yeah, he did, but that's not loyal. Mark Rubio came back and kissed his ass. That's not loyalty, Tim.
Well, yeah, if you go against Trump, the only way you're going to get back in his good graces is you must be the one to make the first move. That's true.
And do you think Elon's going to do that? Have you seen any? Exactly. This can get messy.
Well, but let's say for instance, Elon fucks up with Trump and he could make the first move behind the scenes so you don't know who made the first move. He got too much money, man. I'm telling you, he got too much money. I don't believe Trump can't be bought. Even if Trump hate the guy, if I can see Trump in his own inner circle, like, look, this guy is full of shit, but he made a deal I couldn't refuse. So
wait a minute, say that again. Whoa. Say that. Go back to no, you're not slide that by. See, you do this. Yeah, you do this with these MAGA folks. What? They didn't hear that. You just said that Trump can be bought.
Yeah, I believe that.
Okay. 100%. Of course he can. Of course he can, and he always could be. That's who we want, and that I told you that the fact
there is nobody that can be though. You can't fault Trump for that. Okay, let's say we didn't vote Trump in. No matter who you vote in, they can be bought. I don't think that.
I'm not gonna put that on everybody.
Give me somebody who you think can't be bought.
Well, I didn't say that. I said I can't specifically say somebody. But Trump has shown us evidence that he can be.
I don't disagree with that, but I think anybody can be bought. I'm not going. I'm listening. At the end of the day, we're, like I said earlier, we're a capitalist country. We are a money-oriented country. We put money above all else. So you get what you pay for.
And he literally seems like he can be bought by anybody. Fair market price.
Well, countries, you could have put Al Sharpton in there. You could have put Al Sharpton in there. They all can be bought out.
Adversaries, other dictators. He is for sale. Period. That's why his name's all over the country.
Yeah.
All over the globe, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that is true.
And his supporters can be bought too.
Can you imagine sending a rocket to space? Because he wants to put a man on Mars. That's what Elon is. I'll put Trump's name on the side of the rocket. We'll put a MAGA flag on Mars. You know how valuable that would be to Trump? Put a
And
MAGA
he would
flag on
sell
Mars.
he would sell every MAGA supporter out for that. Julio, Gen X, Johnny, all of them would be for sale and have his name on the side of a rocket ship. He'd sell them out to be on the side of a Greyhound bus. Listen, the man's integrity is not there, Tim. It's just not there. And we're just yeah, that is offensive, Apple user. It is. And unfortunately, that's your guy. He's for sale. He's for sale. Everything is an object to that man. Period.
Well, we put the MAGA flag on top of the Capitol building. We can't put it on the Mars.
Look at that on top of the Capitol, MAGA flag. Ain't that crazy? And they talk
We
about
we go out there and you know when he put the flag down, we go, this one is for Ashley Babbitt. Maybe take some of her ashes.
You wrong for that. You wrong for that. But no, you said earlier too, because I dropped off. I came back. You said, do we believe that Trump will hold the promises that he made to the American people?
Yes.
Right. No.
You don't think none of the promises he made he'll keep?
No.
Oh, come on now. The largest deportation in history, I think, is a shoo-in. I think he absolutely would do that.
So in order for that to happen, he has to move the people in the masses. He can't, you said it before, which I totally disagree. He can't put one person on TV, parade him around, the next month do another one. Because if he does it, we will feel it. There's no middle ground with that. If he's going to do the biggest mass deportation in the history of this country, we're going to feel it.
Well, I can give you some shit to film. That's pretty easy. The governor of Oklahoma has already stated that they plan on handing all of their inmates that are here illegally over to Trump or to the Trump administration. He said they got like 500 and some of them. You can film that. I'm sure every state in this country has at least 50 to 100 undocumented immigrants, or far more in some of the bigger states. If they're Republican states, he can just make sure that, we need to do a perp walk, put them in a, like what was the guy's name? Luigi. They had him on TV walking in orange. Long line of immigrants with a chain between each one, walking to get on a bus or something, huh?
And then lie and say it was millions. Is that what you're saying?
Something like that.
So again, I'm gonna start calling you on this stuff. So you're saying he can take several hundred, let's just say several thousand, and lie and say it's millions. And what you just said is that his followers will believe that.
Hey, if I could show you Lincoln, they seen Lincoln rally on TV and they think there's hundreds of her just from that one person. Yeah, if I can show you every Republican state that does a perp walk with all of their immigrants come walking out and putting them all on Greyhound buses and they all in chains, yeah, they would think it's thousands of them.
So what are you saying about him and what are you saying about them?
I'm saying it's the largest deportation in history.
I'm just asking for a friend. What are you saying about him?
I'm saying that man will successfully give us the largest deportation in history.
So that's not what you said. What you said is he will lie and they'll believe it. That's what you said.
But it looks good, though.
What you said was he will lie and they will believe it. I'm just saying it over and over again so the people that are watching you come support you and the MAGAs understand he will lie and you will believe it.
I think some of them know that, though. And I mean, like I said, you hear people saying on the program all the time, yeah, he exaggerates a little bit. I think they already know that. I think most MAGA, here's an example. I think most Trump supporters know there's not a whole bunch of people eating pets in Springfield, Ohio. They know that they know that at the very least.
Was it a lie?
Yes, a lie. But they might believe it's exaggerated. Okay, maybe there's only one or two Haitian migrants doing it, and one or two is more, one or two too many. But they do believe that is way less of an issue than Trump made it out to be. Even his supporters believe that.
I've been on your live maybe 24 times. I don't ever recall hearing a Trump supporter say he lied. I've heard exaggerated, I've heard taken out of context, and I damn sure never heard DJ Julio say it at all. He lied.
I've dragged it out of a few of them. Usually the response to it, he exaggerated about something, is I asked him, what is the difference What is the difference in definition between exaggerating about something and lying about it? I mean, it's a synonym. I mean, if you say something, let's say, for instance, you tell a chick I'm working with a monster, and you're not working with a monster. You exaggerate about the size of your monster, but what's the difference between that and lying about it? An exaggeration and a lie are synonyms of each other. You just don't want to call it a lie. It sounds awful, so you try to say it's an exaggeration, but they're essentially synonyms. If you know what you're saying is not true or is greatly marked up, you're lying and exaggerating simultaneously.
You know, I just don't think that they will ever, and I've seen no signs of it. I don't think they'll ever admit that he's just a compulsive liar. I don't think it'll ever happen. I don't think it'll ever happen. So when you ask about his agenda, I don't even see anything that he's proposed that he could like really do seamlessly.
What about the tax cuts? The tax cuts, but the no tax on tips. You tell me he can't do that?
Man, that's not that. Well, he can attempt to do it. You know what's going to happen with no tax on tips, right? Because you're taking away tax revenue.
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen?
They're going to push back.
See, listen. In the no tax on overtime and all that, man. Listen, these corporations, you just won't see overtime. See, there's a way to say it to make it sound you just won't see overtime, and he said it.
Yeah, he said it to Elon of all people too.
He damn sure did. Right next to him, he said he loved him for it.
Jesus, yeah.
He said he loved him for that.
Well, let me just make it clear. Regardless of, even if everything you're saying is true, one thing you got to get Trump credit for is he told us what he was going to do, and we voted him in. So you can't hate on the guy. It ain't like he didn't tell you he was going to do this shit.
No, that's not. So let me back up. He told us what he was going to do, and they didn't believe it.
But he did tell you. He did his job, though.
And that detail is important because when we have these conversations about what's going on and we're taking it out of context and we're like, it came out of his mouth, and then they say, but we believed him.
Well,
what did your mom tell you growing up?
When somebody shows you who they are, believe them?
100%, right?
Yeah.
Right? You grew up with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I said, and you said I didn't have to say anything, all I did was, That's all I did. And
it resonated. It resonated. Yeah, it resonated.
Of course it did. Listen, Tim, you better be honest with these people.
I am.
You better. No, you be MAGAing around.
Wait. Are we making new words of I be MAGA-ing around?
Yeah, MAGAing around. We might as well. They're trying to change everything else.
I'm MAGA-ing around. Okay, that's a new one. I haven't heard that before. All right, I'll stop MAGA.
Stop MAGAing around. I'm gonna start putting it in the comments every time. Stop that. Man.
Oh my God.
Stop playing with these people.
Oh my God.
They need to see exactly who he is. And when they bring it up, you just got to stop them.
Well, I'm telling you, you can't hate the man. The man told you what he was going to do. If you don't believe it, then that's on you. It ain't like I didn't tell you. I mean, he told you what he was going to do.
Right, but when they come up trying to tap dance out of that like Gregory Hines, you need to be saying, no, DJ, he said exactly that. No, Gen X, he said exactly that. No, Jeremy, he said exactly that. That's what you need to do instead of going, well,
I call it out. Listen, I call it when I see it. I got to move it on, but I do call it when I see it. But you can keep correcting me. I don't have a problem with that. I do call it out, though. I don't MAGA around. So.
Yeah, stop MAGAing around.
Oh, my God. You got me in tears. All right, Mike. Appreciate it.
All right, Tim.
All right. God. All right. MAGAing around. Will G says, they say if Trump handled things like he should have during COVID-19, close to 400,000 people would have been saved. Damn. I can't say look, like I said, I don't know for a fact. Certainly in terms of the numbers, but I do believe Trump's handling of COVID was horrible. And I do believe the bad information is what a lot of people, like a lot of folks were on their deathbed, like I wish I had got the vaccine, but now it's too late. People were on their deathbed saying that they wish I had a social distance, or I wish I had wore a mask, or, I wish I hadn't went to that party. Shout out to the late Herman Cain. Trump, what he was trying to do, running for re-election, he obviously wanted to make sure he had a strong economy. That was going to be his baby to run on, is that the economy was great during my term, and he was going to run for re-election on the economy. Well, when COVID hit, there was a recommendation from Fauci, CDC, the FDA, and all of them to social distance and shut everything down, which would hurt the economy significantly because everything was going to be closed. So what Trump was trying to do was somewhat listen to the advisors on how to handle this new pandemic, while at the same time also listening to folks or doing whatever he could to maintain a good economy. And it resulted in talking out of both sides of your neck because you can't do both of those things. You're not going to save the economy and close everything down. So then it became an issue of, well, if a state wants to stay open, they should be able to stay open. And if the other one, I mean, so it was just mixed messaging all around. Just some, if the states can do whatever the hell they want. That makes no sense. If you got a pandemic and the goal is to quarantine, so you can't have some states open and some states not. Only way that works is if you got people at the border preventing people from out of state from entering the state. But if New York shuts down, but Florida stays open and there's nothing stopping Floridians from flying to New York, then whatever New York is trying to do is useless because the people in Florida ain't listening to it. And that's what was happening under Trump, is that he made it so that you couldn't quarantine because he's giving states the right to do. I mean, it was just and that mixed messaging still exists in MAGA today. Some MAGA believes you should be vaccinated and some don't. The whole way he came about delivering this out of both sides of your neck conversation, that still exists in MAGA. Now, we can say whatever the hell we want about the liberals, but they're fairly united on what to do about COVID. They don't, all the mixed messaging, all that doesn't exist among the liberals. It's very strong among the folks on the right. Some folks are okay getting, I know some MAGA that have had the vaccine and all the booster shots. I know some folks that are MAGA that believe the shit is poison, haven't had any of it. I've had MAGA tell me that I was going to be dead by December 2021 because I had taken the shot. Told me I was going to drop dead. I mean, all of this stuff was coming out of his, the liberals ain't all over the place like that on that. So I do believe his handling cost some lives because his messaging was terrible. You're on TV with Dr. Fauci, letting him tell people to social distance and wear masks. During the day, you're on TV with him. At night, you're holding rallies with everybody yelling, fire the dude, and you're up there smiling while they yell it, giving them time. So these people think you're going to fire this dude. Then the next day, you're on TV with him again, letting them give out instructions. And then by the weekend, you're at another rally speaking negatively of him. Why not just remove him from the task force? Why would you keep showing up on television with him, standing beside him while he gives out instructions that you're going to go at a rally later that night and criticize? Why would you have him still there? You could make that not happen. His messaging was terrible on that. And now all of a sudden, he's about to be president again, and that's one of the people that they're suggesting they want to go after is Dr. Fauci. He's a messenger. Dr. Fauci doesn't pass legislation. He doesn't make any laws. He's just a fucking messenger. Why would you go after him? If he was giving out bad information, you had two choices. One, you didn't have to take any of his information. You didn't have to stand next to him and let him speak to the people, which made you look like you're unified in what he's saying. And number two is you could have simply reallocated Fauci to put him back on Ebola or HIV or something like that. Take him completely off the COVID task force. Hell, put Ben Carson on it or something. So yeah, the way he handled that was horrible, horrible. He gets no credit for that. And people say, well, he did the best he can. No, he didn't. You don't go on rallies and trash the guy at night. Then you're on TV standing next to him in the morning. No, that ain't doing the best you can. That's giving mixed messages. Will says the guy trying to get you to a website for what is supposed to be public record sounds sketchy. Now he's referring to my other guest that's talking about the Supreme Court case in Ohio. He said that should be public information, and it sounds sketchy. He's talking about going to a judicial website, though. But it seemed like you should just be able to put Ohio 24-1289 in there. It should come up, but it's not. I tried to put it in there. It didn't come up. LOL, if you said anything bad about Fauci, they would come after you with full force. Okay, Doug, who gives a damn though? Okay, you saying that? What are you saying, that Trump continue working with Dr. Fauci because if you said anything bad about him, the liberals would come at you? Since when does Trump give a damn about what people say about him? I mean, he's talking about the president of the United States falling down and shit, calling him Sleepy Joe. You think Trump gave a damn if he said something about Fauci that was awful and people didn't like it? You think he would give a damn? Since when has he been known to hold his tongue? That makes no sense. Somebody says, thank you, China. Oh my God, I'm gonna leave that alone. Let me go back to Jesus. But yeah, all Trump had, all he had to do was get Fauci out of the picture when it came to dealing with the virus. That's it. Keeping him around while you feel like he's giving bad information and bad instructions makes Trump look bad. There's no way in hell he should be the prosecutor for anything he did. Anything. Real quick in the comments, do you know what gain of function is? You talking about the research? Or I've heard of gain of function research in regards to that. Like I said, as far as I'm concerned, Trump should have produced a unified message. Nothing excuses that. Get somebody that is going to study and do what it takes to deal with the pandemic. Somebody that you trust, that you feel they know what they're doing, and you feel confident appearing on television side by side while they give the public instructions. That's it. He couldn't do that. He could not do that. He kept appearing on television with a guy he didn't trust at all. That's irresponsible. That is what could cause people to die. And I do believe what Will said. I don't know if it's 400,000, but yeah, I do believe he's responsible for a lot. It's trying to create a virus that is man-made, so powerful, you can, Wes Onus, is it? I don't get the statement there. You said it's like trying to create a virus that's it's trying to create a virus that is man-made, so powerful you can Wes Onus it and study it. I don't doubt that C-19 was created by man and it got out of hand in a lab. Kind of reminds me of what was the Will Smith movie he made where they were something killed off the population and they were trying to come up with a cure. It sounds like I Am Legend, I think it was called. Sounds something like that. I don't disagree that they were probably trying to create a bioweapon or something like that and it got out of hand. None of that I'm in disagreements with. But you're on television with somebody that you feel do not know what the hell they're talking about, and you keep appearing on television with them every day. That makes Trump look incompetent. Get the dude off TV. That's all you got. Just get the dude. Why are you on TV with him every day? Your whole support base is yelling that you fired this dude. Either tell your supporters that he is worthy of the position and they are wrong, or get rid of the dude. He wasn't doing either. He's letting his supporters continue feeling like Fauci is somebody who should be fired, and they thought he was going to do it. And then he's on TV letting folks that do not support him think that Fauci does know what he's talking about. That's a horrible case of mixed messaging. And there's just no excuse for that. That doesn't, at least when it comes to dealing with a pandemic, that looks like poor leadership skills, at least in my opinion. It was a tough spot for Trump. No, it ain't a tough spot for you. If you feel confident the guy that's over something does not know what they're doing and should be fired, and you have the ability to get him out of the picture, then you do that. That's it. Then you do that. You certainly don't appear on television with him every day while he's giving out what you believe to be faulty instructions. Trump is on TV with dude for like almost a month. Every day he was on TV with Fauci. If you don't think he knows what he's talking about, why would you be on TV with him? Just created a mess. And then you holding rallies at night talking about firing the dude. That is just awful leadership on that. I don't know what I just hit there. And like I said, I do believe that what Will said, I do believe that ultimately probably led to the deaths of some people.